Yo, what's up, everybody? Am I too early?
Maybe.
Nah, we're not too early.
It's okay.
It's okay. What's up, everybody? We've got a new guest in the house tonight. We've had success in our last two podcasts, so we're still rolling with the video. People are loving it. Well, I hope you guys are loving it. But today, we've got Brandon Barnard from Matter Films today, co-founder.
What's up?
What's going on?
Hey, dude.
How you guys doing?
Did I nail that?
Good.
You did. You got
I
it
did
right.
a very good
You got
job.
it right.
I thought I did. Is this your first podcast, by the way? We didn't ask you.
It is. Yeah. Never done podcasts.
We've gotten
Pop in the
so
cherry.
many
Yeah.
firsts. It's great.
Yeah.
This is good.
Only amateurs.
They're
podcasts.
pretty fun
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so far.
it's good.
We've
So
only
far.
gone,
We've gone 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. So tell us a little about yourself, what you do, what does Matter, and we'll start with that, and we'll keep going up throughout the night.
Okay. So, I mean, how far do I go back? Where do I start?
I mean, what got you into it all?
Yeah. I mean, I was screwing around in college and not doing the right things and going for a business degree and kind of realized, hey, maybe I should go after something I'm passionate about, which was photography. Mm-hmm. Got into a film degree and right off the bat, straight A's. I mean, it just kind of clicked and it made sense for me.
Nice.
Got out, did an awful amount of jobs like real estate, software.
Yeah.
I was the video producer on site, and so it was a lot of awful stuff that you had to deal with and go through.
Yeah.
Was about to move out to LA. I was kind of sick of the local market. My girlfriend at the time and I were like packing the house, and we just premiered a film in Phoenix called Paint Life Beautiful, and we got picked up by Kitchen Sink. And so they said, hey, come on board, let's start a film department and kind of kick it off. So did that for 5 years, and that went really strong. Had some amazing team members on that.
So you went straight from school and knowing that's your passion, and you did a film, and it went on.
Sort of straight from school. I mean, I got out of school and then screwed around in these probably 3 years of just awful corporate America.
Sure. And you're like, I want to do my passion project. I want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's where it kicked off.
And so, and that kind of reminded me or kind of bestowed on me, if you be really, really proactive and you go out there and try to do something that other people aren't doing,
right,
it might get noticed. And that's kind of what happened for me. My buddy, Mark Susan, he brought that project to me, and then we just saw it through, and it was awesome, huge success, nice. At least locally. And then,
yeah, no doubt.
And then that kind of bled into my career, essentially, kicking
awesome.
off. Yeah.
Where did you premiere it?
Film bar downtown.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to go there.
Rest in peace.
It's not dead.
It just died.
It just died?
Yeah.
No,
Shame.
I
Missed
never
it.
went. I've been wanting to go.
Pandemic killed it.
Did it?
Yeah. Well, I think so.
Yeah.
I thought I
for
saw
sure.
people in there recently.
No, they had like a last
Colby, is the
hurrah-
film bar dead?
hurrah event. Yeah, it's dead. I saw the Facebook post.
It's-
You did?
Yeah,
It's dead.
it was like a few weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll make a new one.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
So anyways, so did Kitchen Sink 5 years. And then I got approached to start a production house associated with an agency, and took that opportunity. And myself and Kyle Gilbert, my other co-founder,
Nice.
we jumped over, partnered with OH Partners, started a new production house called Matter Films, and just kind of right off the bat, just
Boom.
went for it.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of crazy, kind of hectic. We didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the business was. We spent a lot of time working on projects and just going.
Yeah. Sprinting.
Yeah.
Running like hell.
Yeah. So
Yes.
kind of crazy, but now it's 4.5 years on.
Legit.
It's going good.
What was it like? I guess having a production business or a film business connected to an agency. Like, were there like a lot of rules that they were going to impose on you guys, or did they kind of give you your own autonomy?
I mean, it's really good and it's really bad. And what I mean by that is you get the stability of clients coming over,
right,
and the agency being able to supply, workloads and these clients at a high level, and kind of honestly a myriad of tiers of clients and budgets, and it just kind of allows you to stretch yourself and go for it. But at the same time, you're attached to an agency, so you kind of have some, I don't want to say rules, but you have to
Slight limitations.
Yeah, I mean, you have to live within those parameters and produce,
Guidelines,
and you kind of know that you are being a good partner for them, and they're in turn being a good partner for
Right.
you. So it's just a relationship that you have to curate,
Sure.
and make sure it's going to have longevity. So
Right.
we want to make sure we're taking care of them. They're taking care of us.
Definitely, it's a partnership.
So, it's been a good relationship.
Nice.
There's been tough times and good times.
Oh, yeah,
and
as
everything,
always.
all the ups and downs. But anyone who knows agencies, it's kind of a crazy environment. And production houses are very vastly different from them. So it's it's two different things, but like I think they can really live together if you do it correctly and you have the right relationship.
No, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Really awesome.
So coming into it, obviously they probably, if they went down the road of deciding to like do a partnership or bring an in-house team or have a connection, what was the first project you guys got thrown on with them, if you can remember?
Man, I'm trying to remember. Like we came on, and within it was August of 2017. We came on. It was like, I think it was called Revenry. It was like this real estate ad that we had to go shoot, and it was kind of like a talking head thing or a little comedy thing in front of a house in Arcadia. But yeah, it was kind of like, but that was kind of mid-level. It was bigger than we expected. And then pretty quickly you kind of get thrown onto the fire in terms of like producing on high level things as well as like the low level things. And all day I'll say the lower level things are almost more difficult because there's so much of it.
Yeah.
Got to manage. I think the first year we had Matter up and running, we produced 3,700 different film assets or video assets.
700.
Yeah, I mean we're talking animations and we're talking like little things,
still,
motions and whatnot, but like still it's a lot and
It's a deliverable nonetheless. Yeah,
and we were kind of like living in a closet. There was three of us.
Only 3 people.
Yeah,
like full time.
yeah, and just literally a room like the size of this table, like 3 desks, and we're just go and yeah, it was kind of nuts. But
That's kind of where the agency thing came in, though. You said you didn't like focus on the business because the business was kind of already feeding you in a way, right? I mean, the structure of it,
yeah,
you didn't get to focus on. You were just running. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting all this work. Let's just go. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty. Like you've got this relationship. They're going to be feeding you a lot of clients, a lot of jobs, and you got to take it on. But like you have to both give them the confidence that you know what you're doing, you know how to get it done, and you also have to be able to execute. Like on your end, be able to execute on it. And that's the tough part. Is like you can have confidence all day and just say, yeah, we'll get it done. We'll figure it out. But like you got to get it done, and you got to get it done well.
Totally.
And that's how you grow. You can't. Obviously, that's going to fail if you don't.
Yeah, no doubt. So did you, when doing projects and they're coming towards you with all this stuff, are they just force feeding you and you're doing it, or do you go in meetings and you like give creative feedback based on production needs and limitations on your end? Like because like you said, it goes back and forth. Are you like in those or no?
It's been an evolution, and I think that like comes back to like training and education on our end as well as their end, and like understanding how that relationship works. There's no easy answer on that one, but I think it just in the beginning stages, it was very much like, hey, we're here for you. We'll do whatever you need. We're go.
Right.
And then once we kind of got ourselves established and we kind of said, hey, like, all right, we're handling the stuff we want to be handling. We're doing really well. We're winning a ton of awards. We're kind of, we're flexing our muscles essentially as a production house and just going for it.
100%.
Then it became like, all right, we need to make sure that we kind of have a tiered layout to where we're still catering to those clients that need help and that need that partnership. But then we're also going out and looking for our own clients, and we're going after, passion projects and the things you're really passionate about.
The stuff that got you into it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You got to keep going back to that.
So with 3 people in a closet producing over 3,000 pieces of deliverable content, what I think that's something a lot of people struggle with is when to kind of expand and when to release some control over the process, I guess. What did that look like for you guys? Like, when did you guys have a definitive moment or something when you're like, hey, we need to probably hire onto the team or expand the operation?
I think that, again, that was just this long evolution, and we slowly expanded. Yeah. And it was all based on need. But at the same time, like, you guys get this, like film, photo, anything visual in the visual medium. If you figure out a way to do it and do it well, then it's hard to let go of that and to allow other people to take it and run with it,
Totally. Yeah. It takes a lot of trust.
That was something I really struggled with in the beginning, was kind of saying, okay, like, hey, like everything I bring to the table, like I need to start hiring people that are better than me and trust them.
Right.
And that's the key. And that's really where Matter was born. I think the first year Matter was like this thought, like, hey, we can build something cool.
Sure.
And then after that, we kind of had a moment where we stopped and said, hey, what are we? What are we trying to do here? Right. Like, where are we going? And I think that's where we said, you know, we need to be scalable and we need to look at the right people for the right jobs. We can't do everything, you know. I'm not going to, I use cooking and culinary as kind of an example all the time.
Do you like cooking?
Some, yeah.
What do you like cooking?
Barbecuing.
Oh, I literally was going to say barbecuing.
I know. It's very expected too. I mean, look at me.
You like smoking or what do you like?
No. I haven't gotten into it. I don't have time. I have 3
He's
kids.
like, it's dangerous. You get a
gotta
smoker
meet
and then
you got to meet
just
my uncle.
go
I have
to
a
the
newborn.
cave.
I just got
barbecue.
I got a Blackstone.
Ooh,
I like
that's
griddle
nice.
top.
Yeah.
I really suck at it, but I'm trying to learn. Like I'm really good at the grill, but the black, and so I was like, oh, Blackstone, I'm going to be good at it. And no,
So
I'm awful.
next time you go to San Diego, go to Phil's Barbecue.
Phil's?
Yep. Let me know.
Oh, you
Best
guys
thing.
did spots for them, right?
Well, it's we went out there and just have fun and we practice and shoot stuff all the time. We're gonna try to bring the robot out there and do some fire stuff with them.
Nice.
But yeah, if that's like the best barbecue in the West Coast, go try it.
Dude, I will.
And then call me. Yeah, and then we can make some. We get Phil. We'll go make some barbecue in the back.
So it's like cooking.
Okay, I completely forgot.
Yeah.
About that.
Okay, what
It's
were we
the
talking
process,
about?
Oh my gosh.
relinquishing
Now I'm,
parts of the
sorry,
process.
now I'm hungry.
Yes.
Relinquishing
For Phil's.
Sorry.
relinquishing parts of the process is like cooking.
Oh, right.
Well,
Yes.
Or like being in a kitchen.
What I was getting at with
true.
that is like I'm not going to go to, you know, it's when you want Italian food, you go to a really good Italian chef.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing for creative, where if I want something that, for example, you guys just interviewed Jason Sievers.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at his work and we said, hey, you know what? He's got this look and this feel that he's developing that he's really, really good at. Let's put him on this Gila Sports HQ job.
We talked about that. Did you see that? He killed it.
And he just exploded. He did an amazing job, and he really just went through with it.
I love that project.
But it's kind of that mentality of like, you put the right people in the right place, and that's what's going to produce passionate people who are going the distance on that job.
Correct.
And if you don't go there and you just have people who are trying to stretch themselves to get there, like, of course, like you should just surround yourself with people who are better than you. And at the end of the day, they're going to lift you up. You know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, 100%.
Well, and you guys still have that balance.
Colby
of,
lifts me up.
You guys still
Come here,
have that,
Daddy. I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
oh man.
Oh boy.
Highlights at the
Okay,
end of the year.
continue.
You
Did
guys,
John have any whiskey tonight?
No, I did not actually.
you guys have that balance where you're still a small team relatively, but then you can bring in and kind of harness on that outside
You've got your
talent
Rolodex.
for the specialties. You have your Rolodex, which is
And
important to have.
That's something that's difficult to develop, and it takes years to work with partners and work with people you really trust and have confidence in. But again, like going back to like what's the bread and butter of Matter? What's the magic behind it? And I think it comes back to being a scalable team that can handle these high level jobs and handle the lower level stuff.
Right.
You know, and you to kind of pick and choose and work on a bunch of different mediums, which is great. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot, and it's a lot to take, and you know, especially in a business sense, like when you're trying to kind of position it, because you know, on the high level jobs, like you've got, you know, we did a big job for Virgin up in Vegas,
And that was huge. That was awesome.
and that was a 150 person crew, semi trucks coming out from LA, and you know, ton of people, ton of crew, ton of talent, ton of
How many days was that?
2 days.
Nice.
Out in the
So
desert.
you had 150 people for 2 days.
Yeah, pretty nuts. But I mean, stuff like that, we're able to scale up for that, but then scale way down and use our core team that's super passionate to go on travel jobs that
Right, to
necessitate 3-4 people, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where the beauty is. Like you get to touch a lot. You get to kind of live in a lot of different worlds. But when we're scaling and we're going after that big stuff, like we need those higher level directors and DPs who really know how to manage a 150 person crew. And, you know, and
it does take a different level of experience to do that for sure. I mean, that's one of the hardest things for us is like building a team. We've been focusing just slowly, like you said, just trickling in people. Oh, we'll try them here. We'll try them here and that. And so far it's been working. And that way we're able to, like, Brandon can do a job by himself. I can do a job by myself. He can do a job by himself with a team, and we can separate and do that, which has been stressful. Like the first time we were like dry is when we were doing the jib stuff and left them.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was the first time we weren't there. It was just solo, us not being there. It was crazy. But it's been cool because you can like focus on a team, build the right team, and trust them, and keep growing from there. That's one of the hardest things for us to figure out, but it's been working.
Yeah, I mean the tough call there is like, are we building a business based on it being a business and being profitable, or are we building a business based on producing film pieces and visual pieces that are going to go the distance and make a difference?
Yeah.
And there's no right answer in that, because you are kind of handcuffed to, it's a business.
Sure.
At the end of the day it is, but you want to make sure that you're setting off with the right intentions. And again, like that comes back to matter. Like when we first developed the brand and said, hey, what do we want to do? And I think that we looked at the longevity of it and said, we want to create stories and tell stories that matter.
Right.
We want that level of authenticity to carry through, regardless of what we're doing. And I'm well aware, like we're working on commercial campaigns. Some of these campaigns, they're not helping the community per se, but like it is kind of this level of authentic people you're working with that are good at their job, who are really trying to progress the creative and take it to the next level.
Yeah. And that we've been seeing in the community has been growing in that direction, where everyone's just been coming together and been happy with what they've been doing and creating.
That's been a cool thing with like APA, like Jenny on the Matter team. She pushed us really hard to go to the APA meeting. And that's something that, like, I guess me as this film dude who, like, I was back in the film festival days back right after I got out of college. I kind of got upset with like doing all these film festivals where I was producing and like
was
shooting.
it toxic for you?
I was just shooting jobs, and like I was just going really hard on these films and these short films, and trying as hard as we possibly can, and like using these larger crews, 30 people, who all were paying for it to make this film. And then at the end of the day, like someone comes in and edits it, and it's just like, ugh. And it was just like it was a tough pill to swallow. And so back then I kind of pulled myself out, and that's when I was like ready to move to LA. I was like, okay, I just want to get in a different environment to where I can focus on film. And so that's kind of my history with like the APA vibe and talking to local filmmakers here in Phoenix. But I think it's important to remember that like there's so much talent here, and there's so many filmmakers who are really, really good. And you just got to talk to them. You got to get out and you got to look for those opportunities and communicate. Because ultimately, like that's what's going to, if we all build ourselves up, I think it's going to build up Arizona.
Thank you. 1,000%. That's what we've been trying to do. That's why we're here. That's why we're here to help everyone. Like
that's our big message.
Why we've been investing in so much like we can, like with robots and cranes and stuff, to help everyone produce, the stuff they've been dreaming of or what they want to do, or giving the client that opportunity to do that. It's kind of what we're here to do. We're here to have fun and grow with everyone. And I think that's the thing with Alex kind of jumping on board in the APA board itself, is now we can have a little bit of input on the younger side of it, and get younger people in there. Because it has been like an older crew in there.
And just the community too. Because like honestly, at the end of the day, like you guys at Matter and us, we've bid on projects against each other. But like as a community and as Arizona companies, like we're still like friends and like
Well, that's
the podcast. We can come here and talk, and like rising tides raises all ships type of thing.
We all know each other, right?
Yeah,
like we basically know every production house or almost all film people who are local here.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to like there's plenty of work to go around, and we are going to bid against each other, but at the end of the day, like you guys win it. Like they liked you. They liked your concept. They're going to have a better expectation for what's being produced.
Right.
And they're going to go to the distance with that. So I think I'm totally okay with that. I think there's a lot of competition, and people kind of like just try to kind of
they're butting heads for no reason.
Up, and it doesn't make sense. Like we're a small market. We need to kind of work together.
1,000%. I'm glad you're on the same page.
So we can make us a bigger
that's
market.
what we're trying to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well. But that's what we're trying to do.
But we have a lot of people tell us that kind of stuff, and then they don't actually live up to it.
They don't live up to it. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't. But that's why we're trying to get, like I said, going back to the board, is like now we have opportunity to throw events, right? So we're going to throw one here eventually. We're going to throw one at Real Men. Jesus Christ, I can't talk.
Real Monks.
Yeah, Real Monks. We're going to have one at Real Men. We're going to have the robot. We're going to have a bunch of tools out there. It's going to have fun.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
Inclusive.
Make it for people that can get involved with this stuff. Like you got to just have hands on and just.
I mean, you guys do a lot of events. I mean,
to
to your credit, like you guys are always posting and going to stuff and doing things. And like traditionally, like I've felt bad because I haven't been doing that because I've been so locked up in like our own world of what we're doing.
Right.
And so busy, but like you got to remember like to help out everyone else around you. I mean, that's the only way to lift everyone up.
Right.
That and the funny thing is like every event we go to, we either meet somebody that turns into like a really good friend or turns into a future collaborator or turns into a client. Mm-hmm. So it's like
with the 6 month rule in mind.
Yeah, with the 6 month rule in mind, like you're just networking and you're meeting cool people, and you never know, like down the road, somebody might just come to you and be like, hey, I have a perfect project for a cinema robot. I'm so glad we had that 10-minute conversation somewhere.
Or you'd be surprised about how many people are watching from the sidelines.
Yeah,
what you're doing.
100%.
And as soon as they have something that's of relevance, boom, and it clicks.
Or
that's
you
cool.
find a person that's super technical at something specific that you've been looking for, and then, oh my God, okay, we have a perfect thing for you to be on and train you on and stuff like that. Like that's just commitment. You got to get together. You got to go out. You got to have fun. Like just get out of your element for a second. Get out of that computer. Get out behind that camera, and let's just go talk. Go talk to people.
And the funny thing is,
it's all about people at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is pretty much everybody that's been on our podcast, they always start with like, I had a passion for this. I had a passion for photography and film. Yeah. So it's like we all have that in common at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Then we get so focused in it. We get so focused in the business, which is totally fine. Like,
well, and that's what I was bringing up about the business side. Is like it's very easy to get caught up in the business
100%.
side and to just be stuck in the strategy. And it's like at the end of the day, we need to look at what we're actually producing and where it's going.
Right.
Because Phoenix as a whole is not really taking a lot of stuff national.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah. And so how can we do that? And I think the only way is if we collaborate. I mean, you look at LA, you look at these big brands that are working with 12 different agencies on one project, one campaign. I think the only way to do it is to really start aligning.
100%.
Like you guys are specialty ops, like really, really heavy on that side, and that's something that we're not. But that's a perfect place where we can come together.
Yeah.
And we have a job that needs that. We can work on it.
Yeah. No, that's what we love doing. Just calling us for cool shit or not. We could do even basic stuff too. Like just having fun and just get together. And if we need to build a bigger team, that's the one thing that the productions are coming here, and their limitations are people. Like quality of people, right? Quality of crew and stuff like that. That's why people keep coming out of LA or Atlanta and New Mexico. Yeah. We have to facilitate those bigger jobs, which I understand. I get it. From their perspective, they need to hire the right people for the job to get it done right. But like if we're working on like doing training stuff and whatnot and having people come in so we can teach them on specific tools and equipment and stuff like that and just get people in it. So when bigger productions do come down here, we're ready to rock and roll. You don't need to have anybody come from LA or whatever it is. Stuff like that. And I think that's where the education side of it comes into play. But working on that, it's a process for sure. It's going to take a while, but
definitely.
But that's where I think we lack, in my opinion, is just the quality of workers and the amount of workers. Like there's a lot of good people, but there's not enough of us that are like coming together to do these big projects. There's a lot of really good people out here.
There's not enough of us that are woke.
Yeah. Right.
Film woke.
Film woke.
But like, there's just not a lot of us because we don't, like you said, we're not working together. We're not talking to each other. Like if we can talk to more people, maybe we can build bigger teams that you have no idea that would work really well together.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's kind of
this is kind of a good trend.
It's a weird, it's a weird place, but like we're ready to rock and roll. So come, let's go. Let's work. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That comes down to it. Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
That's what we're here doing. We do a crazy cool job. Like this is not a normal thing for us to do. Like you walk in, you do jobs and you're like seeing people sitting in cubicles and you're like, oh my God, I could never imagine myself doing that. Not to say that's a bad thing, but I just couldn't do it. Right.
Canceled.
There we go. Down my city.
New theme.
John gets canceled every episode.
Yeah, I do. But, it's on the rails.
So this is a good transition point because you had mentioned earlier before the recording that you're starting to do more of focusing on the directing side of things because obviously you built the team and the base now. And then you also mentioned that you like to focus on kind of the content and films that you're putting out and kind of like what the purpose is. So you're not just blatantly like blasting ad content out there. But this one comes from Instagram because we always ask everybody to submit some questions. Ooh. This one comes from Ellie Creates, and it's, what are some of your favorite types of stories to create or film?
Stories that make a difference. I think, it's kind of an easy answer, but like if we're telling a story, if we're, putting all this effort into a film, the filmmaking process as a whole is cumbersome. It's you have to really stay focused across, sometimes days, sometimes hours, sometimes months. to get it produced. So at the end of the day, I want it to make a difference. I want it to like better somebody's life. And that's ultimately what it is. Now, commercial filmmaking as a whole is a little bit different. Like it's kind of like more like you're flexing your muscles to show what you can do and where you can be clever and how you can promote a brand or make a difference, but more in terms of a business insights. But at the, if you really get down to the nitty gritty of it, I mean, I got into film because I had an amazing time creating an artist showcase. It was like a 7-minute film on an artist, and that helped to cash flow his schooling at Columbia in Chicago, a local artist from Maryville down here. So like that was really a really cool experience for me because it just like was like, wow, we can actually do a lot with film, and you have a huge reach with it. Yeah. So I mean I can't remember what the question was at this point, but that's what I mean. But it's just like you can go so much further with it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, even doing the stuff for the Vet Adrenaline and what's that other stuff we did up in California that made an impact? I can't remember the story. Remember the
Camis and Canines.
Camis and Canines. Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Wow, I totally forgot about that.
You know what I mean? Like we've done a bunch of projects like that hopefully made an impact.
Well, it's cool to see.
What about the disabled sports?
That was like a 6-month process.
That was a 6-month project that we did, and it wasn't a massive budget at all, but like we knew we could potentially make an impact for them because it was funding. They had a big fundraiser. Mm-hmm. The idea was to create a film to get people to donate, right? Yeah. And we went to the actual event after 6 months of shooting all kinds of different sports, and they raised what it was like $60,000 or $70,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Like, it's
and
cool.
We're sitting there at the event, and we're like, oh, dude, like that's awesome. Our film was able to help them raise money so they can do more stuff. Like that's cool. It's the same thing.
It's cool to create something and then
people
see
you
like
get lost
a physicalized result of it in some way, or like a purpose behind it like that. Because like some stuff you shoot, like just basic interview stuff, you're like, this will probably
not go anywhere.
Get lost somewhere.
But also you get so drowned with like TikTok and everything now that's just like it's just null content. Like there's no
sustenance to it.
Also, everybody copying somebody else as well.
It's just So when you have an opportunity to do that and it does make an impact, it's huge. It's massive.
Yeah, we just recently did a thing for Phoenix Children's Hospital Foundation, and it was awesome. Like Alex and I just went and shot this thing kind of a little willy-nilly. Like we didn't really know what we were getting into, but we're like, let's go shoot it and like let's see what we can get. And so we tried to push the envelope as much as we can shooting it, and then Jenny actually wrote a VO to this thing, like a whole script, and
so turning the whole
and we had it voiced, and it was great, and
then nailed it.
Do you guys find yourself doing that? Not a lot, but like on occasion, where you get into a project and you're like, oh, this is so much bigger than we initially like thought of it, and then you end up either investing more time or donating more of your time to the project than it would necessarily normally take?
Yeah, I mean, weirdly, it's kind of like one or the other. It's like either you kind of identify this project as like, hey, this is a project and this is a commercial piece that we're creating and we need to do X, Y, Z to get it done. Or if you get passionate about it and you kind of see these things in it that you're like, wow, this can go so much further. It could be so much bigger, and you want to take it so much further and go so much bigger with it, then I think that's where you see that opportunity and you run with it.
Yeah.
I try to encourage the team like as much as we can. Like, let's just go. If we're stoked on something, let's go hard, and like let's put everything into it. I think at the end of the day, like that's gonna make the creative that really stands out, and that's gonna drive people to be passionate about what they're creating and what they're doing. Because there's no point in doing any of this filmmaking or anything you're doing. It doesn't even matter about film or this medium. Like, whatever you're doing, you should be pumped about, because that's going to force you to be excited to do it and to do it well. Yeah. You look at a lot of people who have corporate jobs who just like push buttons and they just do it for the paycheck, and like that just kills me. And I think I feel like I got a little bit of perspective, right out of college with that, and it kind of it just showed me like, wow, I don't want to be there. That's the place I don't want to be.
That's what I was kind of saying a second ago. It's the same idea. It scares me because it's like there's so much more potential for everyone to do stuff, but sometimes you don't have the opportunity to do what we do.
It's
or what
fucking
people do.
Scary to do that, to jump out on this.
No,
ledge,
totally.
Though.
It's not for everyone.
That's the other side to it, though. That it's like you're jumping into an ocean, right? Because like the skill sets and the amount of stuff you have to understand and know, and maybe you're a jack of all trades in that regard, or maybe you're specialized, but. Sure. Regardless, like, if I set out with an edit or we set out with a concept or anything that's creative, like you kind of like you're throwing a dart at a dartboard. You're hoping for the best,
100%.
And so that just, that's something you can kind of hone over time. But like at the end of the day, like you're just guessing, and you're just hoping that it's impactful enough that the client or the end person on it is going to be.
You got this blurry vision in your head that you're trying to get out there that would make sense, and you're just hoping that it comes out the way that you think it is, and it's like either hits or it doesn't.
But it's that proactivity that like allows you to go there and allows you to continually do that. I think the thing I've seen, like especially with when you've got interns or you've got people who are new to the industry, like I want to say entitlement, yes, but like there's the whole side of like they're waiting to be given or to be handed that concept or that project. And I think at the end of the day, you just got to run with what you know and what you're passionate about, even if it sucks and even if it's no good. There's a way to make it good. Yeah. And like, you just need to partner with the right person, or you need to reach out and find that. I think I really would have valued having someone like, even like Reelbros. Like if I was in college and getting out of college and trying to start my film or my career in film, like that would have been invaluable to me to like talk to you guys and just like, even like, I would have been like, hey, I'll come work for you for free. It doesn't matter. Like, because that's kind of the vibe and it puts you in that situation. Yeah. But ultimately, like you have to be proactive. If you're not, if you're reactive, you're just waiting.
Oh yeah, you're waiting. You can't.
Yeah, it's kind of like the point of the podcast too, is to like get people involved and interested in what we're doing too, and introduce them.
You learn a lot of things that, I mean, even not just talking to you, I'm learning stuff, and 100%. We've known you and whatnot, but like that's kind of the idea, is just have fun and people chat about our industry. That like, this is what I used to watch. I mean, if I had something like this, I'd be watching this right now, right? Yeah. You learn so much. You always were Googling on YouTube. You're always YouTubing stuff. Idiot. What am I from? You're always like YouTubing stuff. You're trying to find information. Like when Matt Workman came out and did all of his, workshops for the lighting breakdowns that he did. Yeah. That was massive. How many people he reached out to for that? Like I finally got to meet him at like NAB. Like that was huge. Yeah. If we had more of that, like people are so.
You guys remember Philip Bloom?
Oh yeah, Philip Bloom.
Oh my God, just like living and breathing Philip Bloom like for a while. And
dude,
like,
that was like an amazing show. That show was so in depth. Isn't it?
Yeah, I just saw some of this stuff.
They're
still kicking.
He drops drops 3 hour long.
How many years did they hit? Their anniversary, like it was like.
I think his cats are still around.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
That's been a long time. He always drops like 3 hour knowledge bombs on a specific camera that goes into so much detail about everything.
I know.
And then he updates it like 2 weeks later. He's like, I was wrong about this and I was right about this. And
what was the other one on YouTube? The big one. They did like a massive show always. It was funny. They did crazy stunts. I learned a lot of effects from them, like gun stuff.
Film Riot?
Film Riot.
Film Riot.
Love Film Riot.
Andrew Kramer with Video Copilot.
Video Copilot.
That guy was super funny. He was great.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of information out there for sure, but just like conversations to have, are different because you talk about different things and whatnot. But those shows were amazing to learn from.
Yeah, I like more. I mean, from the podcast sense, I like the conversations that we're able to have on this, especially when we're with because we're a production company, he's a production company. Like these are very unique conversations. And I think we get a lot of feedback in the comments that is like, I would have never expected to get. Yeah. But like not a lot of people are willing to have conversations like this or just like sit down and,
or maybe it's just kind of, they just, it's not available, but
just keep it casual.
Make it available to people and just come sit down and chat. I mean, also, where the community comes into play.
You guys really put yourselves out there, like especially with your marketing and going in with your Instagram, your website, and everything. Like in the BTS you guys are producing, like it's impressive, and like that's definitely something we don't do and we aspire to do. But like it's just like holy crap, that's a lot of work.
It's a whole nother side of it.
But like I think people appreciate that because it gives them kind of a insight into what you're doing and who you are.
That's what we love doing.
Hearing that is awesome because that's exactly what we started the BTS for.
It's the stoke mentality. Like you just got to be stoked about what you're doing and share it with people.
Yeah, but that's why we created RBTV. Was that exact purpose, that exact answer. So that's cool.
Well, because we're passionate about it, so we want to talk about it. Even though we're doing it at that moment, we're like, hey, we're doing this we're excited about it. We're not just like being fake about it because we trying to make money on YouTube. But we haven't make shit on YouTube. We don't make anything on YouTube. That's not the point. We don't care about making money on it.
Even the selfish side of it is like we get to look back on it too.
Yeah, sure.
It's like little timestamps in the company and it's memories. So.
But it's been investment in itself, and that was like our first podcast was self-investment. Like we've been doing that since day one. We pay for people to do BTS on set. Like we do all of that. Like that's what we love doing, and we love seeing that. And it also, we get to kind of work with new people on BTS. Like some of our BTS shooters that were shooting our BTS then for basically free are now on full projects.
Yeah.
And shooting and fully operating and doing everything. So
and when we started the brand, we were like, oh, it's going to be, we're like, is it Reelbros? Like people are going to take it serious or are they not going to?
I was like,
and then we were like we were just like, we have to just fully commit to
one thing,
Reelbros
and you're gonna get
and
those
like
clients
own it. And you're going to see in our BTS, like exactly our personality and like, it's fun to work with us. But like at the end of the day, we like know our shit and like get the job done. But like, that was a huge commitment. That was many, many conversations between us all the time of like,
should we not do that?
Should we not do this? And then finally you just get to a point where you're like, you want to know what? They're either going to love us or they're not going to like hate us or be turned off by our name. And guess what? I don't want to work with that type of person.
That's what I said. Our final decision was, well, if they don't like us because of who we are, then we don't want to work with them. Yeah.
At least the decision's being made at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and I feel like Matter kind of had right out of the gates, we kind of had that, we had this like whole rebel perspective of like, maybe not as much as you guys, but like we had this rebel perspective of like, we just don't care. We know what we want to do. Exactly. We know what we want to go out and produce, and we're not affecting anyone else's life, but we're going hard in what we're doing and we're going to commit to it and have confidence in it. And that worked really well. I mean, I think it just
you guys created massive pieces in Arizona. They're all over the place.
Yeah. I mean,
and they're awesome.
That's what we hope. And like, we're just trying to go, you know, and it's just, you know, I don't know. I feel like that is kind of this new blood coming up in Arizona. And that's not to say that the OGs and the people who have been in the industry for a number of years.
Those guys here are awesome.
Those guys are amazing. Yeah. And those are the guys who have lifted us up,
100%.
helped lift us up. And like, I think we depend on them.
We learn from a ton of those guys still.
Yeah.
You
on
know,
every shoot.
Yeah, I mean, even John at Real Men, we love that guy, dude. He teaches us so much about different stuff.
He's an OG.
I text him all the time with things, and he just comes right back. The dude's awesome.
Dude, we just had a huge shoot at Real Men, and for this big campaign. And
was that the spinning one?
Yeah, the spinning one.
Yeah, that's the one Jason was talking about, and John was like, "Dude, that thing was crazy," you know. But they did it, and it was kick ass.
It was crazy, and the budget didn't really like dictate doing that, and we're just like, let's go for it. Let's go as big as we can. But the reason that worked was guys like Craig and you know these people who have been in the industry much longer than us, who know what they're doing and who know how to do it safely, and you know give us the option to do it. You know, the opportunity.
I heard there was a lot of math involved with that grid and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
But it held it.
Two pre-light days, almost enough.
That was a big rig.
Yeah. It was,
are you guys editing? Who's doing that? Is it?
We're on post.
So that's you guys.
Yeah, Alex is doing post right now.
How's it look? Is it sick?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it looks
so cool. Yeah.
So what's the premise? It's like spinning around. You can't probably say it's NDA, but
it's I can't really say, but it's basically characters before and after a realization. So it's kind of like before when they're kind of depressed, and then after when life is good. And we shot high speed. Yeah. And so the beginning is all like kind of the depressed side. Sure. So you actually see the dolly track and you see the studio walls and everything, and it's kind of hazed out, and it's just you're kind of in this environment. And then it kind of does a ramp spin into the high speed stuff where it's exploding scenes, all high speed, and the camera's flying around.
Sick. I know. I wish we could have been on that. We were going to do the motor crane, but it didn't spin as fast. So we're like,
it didn't go fast enough.
It's crazy.
Zach, make it go faster.
Dude, they hard mounted it to the rafters, not even the grid, but to the rafters.
Oh, really?
They hard mounted it, and they like spent 2 days getting this thing mounted.
Well, because that speed ring's not designed to. It wasn't designed to go upside down.
No.
Because he built it here. It's like from.
That was with Dustin, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dustin.
We're on a shoot with him on Thursday.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He built that speed ring and was the only one in like the States. Anyway, sorry, continue going.
But anyways, like they built this whole thing, and like they start spinning the rig, and we're waiting for this huge, square of metal to just start like wobbling and everything. And dude, that thing was like
just sturdy.
So it didn't move. You couldn't even see it move. It was just like perfect.
Wow.
Perfect.
How much counterweight was on the back of that thing? Do you know? Did you even guess?
I don't know.
Because that was like 12-inch box truss, wasn't it? It was pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably 100 pounds. I don't know.
Oh, that's
pounds? I don't know. There weren't that many weights.
That's not that bad.
It was kind of crazy.
What did you have on the head of it? Was it a fixed head?
It's a fixed Phantom. You guys on a Phantom?
Yeah, we were on Phantom.
So
Dustin's Phantom.
Okay. Yeah. So you just fixed it there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things like you don't know until you do it. Like the first time we hung the moto crane up, we were like,
we did it upside down.
Brought it over to Sneaky Big because we were doing some previs for the Coyotes, and we were like, we don't know if it'll do it, but there's only one way to find out.
But like physically, it makes sense. It should work.
I'm pretty sure we were the first to hang it upside down, unless Zach did it in this shop.
No, we did it, and then the guys in Sweden did it.
Then they did it for a job, but
they actually got to use it.
It was scary, but
Hey, you just got to send it.
Yeah, that's what we love doing.
Just find creative ways to
do
shit.
Yeah.
What was the reason we couldn't do that though? It was because of the system that they wanted to hook up to. It wouldn't be able to go through the slip ring.
No.
They want a different movement.
They want a different movement.
It wasn't just
repeatable movement for all the players because we only had like 2 or 3 minutes with each player, so we had to run through the whole roster pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that's when we ended up going with the Bolt.
Yeah. So now we have one.
And now we have our own cinema robot.
Manifested.
But
those jobs are hard though, where you get into them and you realize pretty quickly that like when you're doing repeat shots and it eats up your schedule and you're like,
you get swallowed in the repetitiveness of it. But, I love those kind of jobs though. Where it puts you, you're just sitting there, you're just like, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do this? And then all of a sudden it clicks.
That's the other side too, is like, it's when you're doing jobs that you know exactly how to do them, you kind of loses the allure. You're like,
oh, totally.
You're just kind of
going through the paces,
just doing it.
When Brandon, remember I used to bring up, you would drive to school and you're like, how the fuck do we get to school? How did I get here? Remember I would say that you would do the same drive every day.
Oh yeah, if you're doing you just go into like AI mode.
Yeah. You literally you're driving to school every day and then all of a sudden you just you get to school and you're like, wait a minute, how did I get here? I had a 30-minute drive. I don't remember any of it. Yeah. That's the idea where you're like doing the same thing. You put the tripod up, you do the lighting, you do the same thing every time. That'll drive you nuts, dude. Drives me nuts.
You go into AI mode and it strips your creativity and then you don't have anything fresh to think about. It's always, I know exactly what's coming next and I'm expecting it, so let's execute.
That's why.
And then that's, you get stuck in that.
It kind of forces you to think outside the box, but then you also look at like filmmakers like Renan Ozturk, right? With Expedition Studios. Like,
dude, crazy guy.
Dude, like, he's doing stuff. I bring this up all the time, and I'm sure everyone that matters like, oh my god. But like he's doing stuff that like no one will touch.
Yeah,
like it's sketchy.
Yeah,
but it's sketchy in his own regard. Like he's a climber, he knows what he's doing. But like
those climbers, dude, are all crazy.
It's nuts. But he's taking cinema cameras in places that have never been taken.
There's like one I think they did. Was that which one did they do?
Yeah, the honeybees off the cliff.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Cool.
Like it's super cool. But like
the thing down.
That sort of like expedition and going on a journey and just figuring it out like is super cool to me. Like we've had jobs that are like nothing necessarily like that. I'm not crazy, but like even just travel jobs.
We're gonna put you in a harness and hang over a cliff and see what we can get.
Just go for it. Yeah, I know, right? How many times have you strapped into the back of a car with a freaking Harbor Freight strap?
Oh yeah.
But like I don't know. I love the travel jobs because there's so many unknowns, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get into, but you have to be prepared for everything.
Totally.
And so we just did a job in Portugal. That was crazy, and that was
you've been doing a lot of destination stuff.
So hard.
Every time I go on Instagram, I'm like, son of a
dude, I love it.
I was hoping
takes me back to Samoa days.
I was hoping you were going to bring this one up because I was going to be like, you guys went to Portugal.
Dude, it was I know that's my latest like name drop. Like, Portugal.
I went to
latest name drop.
They speak Portuguese there.
Dude. But,
shot a film in Portugal, dude. It's no big deal.
No biggie. Yeah, it was crazy. But the travel side to all this is like, Portugal, Cabo, like wherever you're going, like it's hard and it sucks. And you're in new environments and you can't control it and you just have to adapt to it. Yeah. We had a job in Cabo like a year or two ago, and the Mexican authorities like didn't want to let us through, and they wanted to charge us taxes on all our gear. And even though we had carnets for everything, and so they basically are like, all right, come to our office, and we've got like 17 cases with us, and there's like 4 of us, and so we're dragging these cases through the airport in Cabo, and like slamming doors, and the photographer like slams his leg on the door and starts cursing, and the cops start yelling at him, like it's just super gnarly, and like you're just getting to the point where you're just frazzled. And then like we're running across this airport, and it was probably like hour and a half worth of like just hectic, just
chaos.
Crap. And at the end of it, like we finally get on this bus, and then we realized 2 people were like didn't make it. And we're like, oh God. And then they finally caught up to us, but you get on the plane, you're hyperventilating.
Yeah, you're just like, dude, get me out of here.
It's awful. But like those experiences kind of craft it too. Like you remember it. Like I had one where we did this West Indies island shoot, and the last day we're carrying the cases to the boat, and my calf pops. Like I'm walking across the sand carrying 2 cases, and my calf like pops, and I was like, what was that? I've never felt that before. And it was like the muscle like popped, and I don't know like what happened. Muscle popped. I was like, what is going on? I was like, I can't walk. I was like, oh my gosh.
Did you fall?
And so then like I just basically stopped, and I was like sitting on this case, like, what do I do? And finally, like, they kind of get me on the boat, and we get on a seaplane, and then I'm like, okay, I guess whatever. And then we get off the seaplane in Antigua, and we get on a bigger plane, and we're going to Puerto Rico. And like by that time, I'm like, all right, I haven't even like had a chance to like think about my like leg. And we get to Puerto Rico, and we're like 2 hours behind. Mm-hmm. We have no layover, and we still have to go through customs. Alex gets stopped because of honey he bought, and like it was like
it's always the honey, man.
It was always crazy, and like we're trying to get through. I'm pretty sure it's Puerto Rico, and I've got flip flops on, and I'm like running full speed, and it's like slamming, like pop, 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 and the kids are screaming, and they're calling our name over the intercom. Yeah, it's just I don't know. That sort of stuff is like it's crazy, but it's also that's why you do it.
Yeah, 100%. That kind of story reminded me of when we were in Samoa and we went to go fly the drone in another part of the island in a different village, and then the village.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah. The village. I don't know, like the owner of the land, I guess, over there.
Yeah.
He just so happened to be over there, and John takes his drone off, and he just sees money signs. Like he's like, I can capitalize off this.
So supposedly there's not been like when we went. Nobody flew drones over there, I guess. Like
never. Like there's never been any aerial
kids don't
footage.
even see like planes over there or something.
Yeah.
So we were like doing crazy and not, whatever.
It was the water holes where the water goes through the caves and blasts up in the
it's
air.
like this big rock thing.
The blowhole.
The blowholes, yeah.
Yeah, it was sick. You like put you pay for coconuts. Remember that?
Yep.
You pay him for coconuts to put them on there to launch them in the air.
What a racket, dude.
And he throws them in the hole, and then they go launching.
Boom. Like hundreds of feet.
What type of business do you run? You know blowholes? I charge for coconuts to throw in.
He owns the land. I don't know. So I tried flying a drone. He freaked out, dude. Freaked out.
He was threatening John.
How'd you
need to
get out of
pay.
I don't know.
He had to pay him money.
I did.
Pay money.
Like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like all the money we had converted that day, John had to give him.
Yeah, I did pay, which was like
sad.
But I don't know.
But
yeah,
we got to get better at negotiations.
We had a big job for the state, and we had flight clearance to fly in Tempe, and we're in this neighborhood, and it's like this little fly with an Inspire too, and so we're just like whatever, and so we take off, and the neighbors kind of start coming out of the house, but like they're just kind of nice and they don't care that much, but it's we're flying the drone kind of towards this little intersection, and this guy comes out of the house, and he's like screaming at us in like a wife beater and just like awful like workout shorts, and just like he's just yelling at us and staring at the drone, and our shot has to kind of go right over him, and the sun's going
You're
down.
like, this dude's gonna shoot my drone.
And so we just commit to it, and he starts yelling at us because we're kind of going over his house. He's like, get your surveillance out of here, and so we're like, let's get out of here. So Alex gets the shot really fast, and gets the drone out of there, and we had to just work with the shot, and so it's kind of like a little Easter egg in that film, because it's
that's
like,
great.
We were being yelled at.
Yeah, it's super gnarly. We also had
the wife beater is hilarious.
Dude, we had a long time ago, we were doing a fly fishing film in the Grand Canyon, and we're heading up to the Grand Canyon, and we stop at this little convenience store, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we go in, and one of the guys we were with is like, oh, I know the guy who lives here or who works here. And so we go in with our cameras, and the guy comes out of the back with a double barrel shotgun.
What?
And he just points it right at us.
Stop.
And we're like, oh, and we like turn around and just walk right out. We're like, we're out of here. Like, this is crazy. And the guy's like, I guess I don't know him.
Holy shit! No, that guy almost got you killed, bro.
That was gnarly. We're like, let's not do that again.
Oh man,
that was like when we went to we did the Peterbilt stuff in Oklahoma, and John took a wrong turn onto someo's property.
Oh yeah,
and we didn't know we were going. We were like, oh no, we had to pull into this guy's gate, and as soon as we crossed the gate, he comes out of his house with his shotgun. He's like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
That's what I love about this job, though. It brings us all over the place, doing the most random shit, and you meet random people and stories and all this stuff, but like...
And you get shotguns pulled on you.
The adventure...
You're not a true filmmaker until somebody pulls a shotgun on you.
The adventure is insane.
You aren't pushing the lines far enough, or the bar far enough if you're not getting a shotgun pulled on you.
Dude, it's insane.
But those are the stories we tell. Right? Those are like, we always come back to those because it's like, dude, that was crazy. How did we make it out of that? But of course, like, I don't know.
We were in Fiji, and that was the first time I flew my drone like over 2,000 feet, tried to chase a drone. I'm like, I'm going to lose this drone to get this shot.
You chased a boat.
I just kept going. I'm like, I don't know when it's going to stop.
It was like 2
I'm just
miles
keep
out
going.
or something.
It was like 2 miles. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And you just circled a sailboat? That was crazy.
Sailboat. It was the sickest shot ever.
So cool.
It made it back.
Drone came back?
Yeah, it was like the Phantom 4.
With the
right up
gold,
there.
I bought
the
it for
gold
that job.
filters.
It's that one right there.
Oh yeah, it's right there. Look at that, son of a bitch. And then I had the gold like antenna things on it, the extenders. Well,
Yeah.
probably didn't do shit, but
They go
it-
2
Oh
miles.
no! And then it broke in the hotel.
Yeah,
remember?
I snapped because the humidity expanded the plastic. So you take them off to store the controller. As I took the slider off, it ripped the antenna out. So I did 2 miles with one antenna.
But
Hey,
you're
it's
forgetting
still-
to mention that we purchased it literally
that job.
a day before
for
we
that
left.
job.
So
then
we thought
broke
we were
it.
screwed.
And it wasn't even, we didn't even get paid them. Did we even get paid?
No, we just got
No,
a free
we went to
trip
Samoa.
to Samoa and Fiji.
To do a
And a
documentary.
bunch of really cool stock footage for one day.
And I don't
We were
know
there
what
for
that
2
drive
weeks.
is. I lost that drive.
Actually, I think that.
I don't know that drive.
We got to find that drive.
We always try and sell drone footage for stock too, and then there's like one person in the distance, and they're like, "Do you have a waiver?" And we're like, "You can't even tell who the fuck that is."
I guarantee you they still have that footage because we sent the drone
Oh, yeah.
footage to them. Remember?
Oh, probably. We should sell it to the
You should get
government,
it. It's a
dude.
gold mine.
Dude, we had
Score? The Peace
waterfalls.
Corps.
We had
That's the tough
it was
part. Like,
insane stuff.
It was some of the most insane drone
Yeah.
footage I've ever
And
seen.
the best drone footage we've ever had.
like think about the footage that has just died on servers or hard
Oh
drives.
my god,
Like, it's
I
just, you know,
hate hard
That's
drives.
nice.
Hate it.
whatever.
I hate
It
them.
is. That's
I don't
part of
touch them. DIT, not me, dude.
Hey, we made a really good friend at a recovery place one time. They just work magic.
What
Oh,
drives?
yeah.
Speaking of which, what drives are you using right now?
Glyph SSDs.
Same.
Yeah, we're solid.
Let's go, Glyph. Sponsor us.
What do you use before
kidding.
glyphs?
Like the worst Western digitals.
Oof.
I won't use Seagates.
We did
I got
Gs.
screwed by Seagates.
Yeah,
with,
we got screwed by
Seagate.
Seagate.
No, we got Seagates and G Drive kind of screwed us.
No, Seagates and WD,
On
but WDs are in G drives basically.
honestly, when you boil it down, there's like 3 companies that
Yeah,
make
they're all like
the
Samsung,
drives.
right?
Oh yeah.
But like Glyph, they kind of put the best componentry in it,
Samsung's
I've
awesome.
found.
It's just expensive.
The Samsung, have you had the
SSDs?
TR7s
Yeah,
or
they're
whatever?
amazing.
Those are sick. The SSDs. SSDs only. Dude.
That's today's pro tip
Yeah,
on
SSDs
set,
like
yeah.
you
Oh,
can't
man.
mess with spin drives
yeah,
anymore.
no spin drives.
No.
Especially
have
on
storage
set, you
spin
dump
drives,
them.
but-
Dude, it's the worst when you show up at the end of a shoot to drop to a client and they brought their own drive and they pull out like
It's like this trash, and you're
a
like,
Western digital like disk drive and you're like, okay, well let's add like 6 extra hours.
Do you?
And you just shot eight hours on a mini LF.
yeah.
literally?
Yeah.
Do you back up your client stuff? Do you do dual? Do you have them have a drive? Jesus, I can't speak tonight. You give them a drive and then you keep a drive.
I mean, for the most part, I think it just goes back to our server, and then it's kind of a library for them. But
So
we
they have access to your server.
They don't. They don't.
Oh, okay.
But the way we typically do jobs is we're only delivering. We're not delivering raw media
they don't
unless
do
there's
raw
a full
media.
buyout.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's always just the final piece that we're delivering,
Right,
and, then,
right.
and then if there's a buyout, obviously we deliver drives to them.
Yeah.
Got it.
See, with our camera movement stuff, it's a little bit different. On
Yeah, it's
some, we
all-
do a lot of like just
Well,
shoot and
they own
drop.
that
And with you guys being more specialty ops,
Yeah.
being hired as crew and execution as opposed to like
not our
the production
footage.
house, like
Yeah.
it's exactly a little bit different, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but so
We pretty much
typically for every job. That
we
we
typically
keep a
redundancy everything, and it has saved. I will say it's saved quite a few clients
Yeah.
from
They
fuckery.
get home and they can't open it. And we're like, oh, we have.
They
everything.
sent even like some people have hit us up like a year later,
Yeah.
year and a half later, and it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got you. Here you go.
Yeah.
The worst is not being able to find stuff.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand it. Don't get me started with drives.
We had a big. This is a good story. I won't name any names, but we had a big product launch coming up, and we had 2 different drives in 2 different cities, both with the footage on it. One drive went wrong. One drive corrupted out of nowhere, and couldn't get accessed. So they pushed back to our redundancy, and our drive had the same corruption, and they were both G drives
exact
ordered at the
same.
same time with very close serial numbers.
Yeah.
And then we spent a decent chunk of change to have somebody take it apart and put it in a new system, like recover everything, thank God. But like 2 different drives, redundant backups in 2 different cities going bad within a week of each other. It was like, I'm done with G Drive.
Well, you start talking commercial
with G-Drive.
productions. I mean, you might have $100,000 worth of media tied up on this.
Yeah.
Well, and also when you guarantee your client that option for them to come back as a secondary option,
Yeah.
and then you can't provide it, that's
Well,
like the scariest thing. So
we'll say-
we got rid of G drives real quick.
The price to pay on recovering media is a small price to pay for keeping your client
Yeah.
and the value of whatever is
Yeah, but it's
on
never
that
a
drive.
sure thing. You
No,
hope
it's never a sure
Usually
thing.
it works, but like, man, it's so sketchy.
You do hope,
Yeah.
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 I had one client that like we delivered the drives. We delivered one drive to the client. We kept a drive, and then like we're waiting, and they had these crazy timelines and turnarounds. And,
Yeah.
and so we had to like stay that night after the shoot to get the drive to them. Which was super annoying, and they were like getting super drunk in this mansion, and we're like, okay, we'll just sit
like
over here at the
DIT over
DIT
here.
car, yeah, and then finally get the drive to them, and then wait 2 months, and then we get a call from the producer like, they don't have the drive.
Oh my
They
God.
went back to New York, and they can't find it, and so then
my God.
I'm like creating a new copy of the drive, and I'm like, oh, thank God I have it.
Yep.
And send it back over to them, and then six months later, do you have another copy of that drive?
You know,
It'll come up more than you think.
Hey, you should be able to charge a like fee for.
We do.
Oh, I did.
We do.
Thank
yeah,
God.
we do.
Charge.
Good.
It wasn't much. It was whatever, but
Lesson learned.
Yeah, no, they
Create
get,
backups for your client.
they get time and
you can
cost of
charge them again.
materials and shipping and all that.
You
good
can win
jazz.
double time over.
okay. Question for you guys:
Yeah.
what is the worst thing that's ever happened? Like pit in your stomach, like everything's over.
We've already talked about this on the
Okay,
podcast.
maybe
but
we
we've
should
had
each
a-
have our own 3.
We've already done the 3 too. If we have 3, I've had a fair
We
amount
did
of
have a
pits
3.
in my stomach.
Which one? I mean, I know which one you're going to talk about. The one we were doing in Vegas, where we threw up on the roof.
Yeah, that was oof.
So
That was a different this is
different-
over feeling.
that's a different one.
Yeah,
big
that was a
shoot.
different one. Explain this one. That one's comical. You should explain that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So we were doing a cable cam job with the Fi, and we went out there to do it, and it was a big, massive job for what was that? Casino?
Palms.
The Palms Casino.
Yeah, the Palms.
Massive. And we set the line. First of all, we got the wrong lifts. They were tiny. Almost pulled one over. That all.
We did not get the wrong lifts.
We did not get the wrong lifts,
Yeah,
but they
we
brought the wrong lifts. And I was like, these aren't going to work, but I'll pull it. And it hit the tree a little bit. And I was like, okay, release, and went back down. Because we've rigged a lot of stuff. I've had experience. I can tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Let's
period.
just say a few people
Like, it
have
was-
seen a forklift tipped over, leaning against a palm tree.
I've almost pulled down a 70-foot tower. Like I've done a lot of rigging when it comes to cable cam stuff. So I know I'm going to say, hey, this isn't going to work. And I tell the clients like, no,
Yeah.
it ain't happening. Like this is what's going to happen. Anyway, we keep going throughout the day. Rig it, finally get it set, backstay it to a Land Rover. Actually, no, it was a different one, but we rigged it to the Land Rover, the back of it. So we can backstay it so we can make it a little stronger. That's all we had. They didn't give us a lot of resources. So we're like, did it. We set the cable cam up there. We did everything. There was a camera team. We were only cable cam team. There was a camera team that was supposed to give us a Movi, build a camera, everything, blah, 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 Alexa, blah, blah, blah. We put it up there. We get it done. And it's just, they're late. We're waiting for them. It's not built correctly. It's not even fucking balanced.
comms
There's
are
like, I'm
going
pretty sure
nuts.
there was a spoon on it.
No,
to
they
weigh
had
it.
a big like screw in.
Anchor.
Anchor? Like you'd hook something to?
Like a easy rig anchor.
There's one of those hanging off the
And
back
then,
of the camera.
the first issue was we got it all set up, boom, boom, on the Movi.
These are big,
on
like,
the cable
directors.
cam, and then their batteries weren't working.
No. It was balanced terrible to
It
start.
wasn't. Yeah, it
I know,
wasn't
but
really
then
had to
remember their
rebalance. But the
batteries weren't
failed.
working.
Yeah.
Their batteries failed. You
Yeah.
changed them, batteries failed. So we had to swap to the Ronin.
They did not have the
we're
TB50
on-
mod on the Movi.
Yes.
No, they didn't
had
have anything.
Factory
But the-
batteries that were bad.
They were failing. It was freezing cold. There was ice on the roof. We were on a roof.
It was an ice skating rink on the roof. It
Yeah.
had rained and then stopped raining and then froze.
And so we're doing this, and when you're on a big set like that, they just assume that you're up, it's your fault. But realistically, it's everyone else's fault
Yeah.
that didn't do their job.
Well,
right. We've been
directors
sitting there all day.
Directors on the comms like, hey, our cable cam team, are we ready to go? Ready to go? And we're sitting there like, cable cam team's ready. It's the camera
been
department
sitting
that didn't have his camera set up.
So I
and
get
ready to
down
go.
and I go to the director and DP. I'm like, listen, your camera team's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Like I've got your shit's messed up. The movie's fucked. I'm not dealing with that. It's not correct for us. So I'm not flying it. But I've got a Ronin 2 upstairs with a red for a different job. Do you want
And
it?
it's built, ready to go.
And it's ready to rock and roll. And so they're like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, go get it. So we grabbed it, put it on, hooked it up, changed the lens. That Alexa and Movi's sitting on the roof, just open air.
No,
Don't care.
We
No,
ended
nothing
up,
on it.
No, we ended up putting the Alexa on the.
Oh, we built it on the
we
Ronin.
had to get the DP's
DP
approval.
didn't approve
and
it.
he didn't approve the red.
Didn't approve the red. So we had to build it real quick, which we did. Swapped it over, got the Alexa on there and everything, put it on there and got ready for a couple shots and one shot made it.
But in the building
It was a
process,
Alex threw up.
split
in the
second.
building process,
Alex threw up.
I'm so stressed. I looked at the guys. I'm like, I'm gonna be
throwing up.
right back. I gotta go throw up. And I walked to the
was so
bathroom and I throw up.
Because everyone's waiting. It's a massive. I mean, like it was massive, and we were ready. And you just have to deal with other people's problems, which I hate. So I just had to call them out. I'm like, you can't just let that stuff fly.
Well, it's also kind of why, like, now we try and control as many variables as we can. And we're like, most jobs, if we're doing specialty camera, we're like, we want the camera a day before or like the evening before to build out the gimbal, test everything, make sure it works. And then it does not, it comes with us to set. We pull it on. It's ready to go.
It always winds up being you.
I mean, another one, I'll do another quick one, short. With a motor crane, we were doing a job for Kia and I tapped a pole. So it was like a small lane that went in like brick road. We're going slow as shit, like 10.
Yeah.
And we were trying to creep over, like, okay, keep going. And the lens, like there's like these safety poles and it just taps the safety pole. We're like, no. Everyone freaked out because on camera it looks terrible, right?
Yeah.
But it just tapped the matte box and didn't do shit. So luckily we were okay.
We were just on a project with our friend Tyler in the camera car too. And it was his first time directing from a camera car. And we put the arm out over the side of the road into like a gully. He thought the car was going off the road.
He's looking at the
He's used to looking through monitors with a static.
It's a
He's like, Jesus Christ.
It's a different perspective.
So as soon as the
for
motor
sure.
crane like swung over the edge, he had this physical reaction next to me, and I was like, "Yeah, all right." He's like, "Whoa, that just really freaked me out. I thought we were going over the edge."
Yeah.
We had one job in Mexico. We're off the side of this fishing boat, and I'm in the water with a camera, and this guy's jumping off the third story of the boat. And and he's like a fishing guide who's like running the boat. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so he jumps off, and I've got like 240 frames a second. He leaps off, and his arm catches one of the lines that was out, and it wraps around his arm, and it kind of cinched down to his watch. He had like a G-Shock on, and it went right down to basically to the bone all the way around, and just caught him, flipped his body around, and he missed the bottom of the boat by like that much before he went in the water.
Oh my God.
And like it all happened so fast that like I was just like, he felt
you have
weird.
all that on camera?
That was bizarre. Yeah.
So you can zoom in and see.
Yeah, it's gnarly. And so it was so crazy. But then you know, it's stuff like that you got to be so careful of. And
Well, you don't expect that,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to get a cool shot.
Yeah.
Jump, dude.
we're on that Portugal job, and Kyle's got an underwater housing.
Yeah.
And he's going into the surf, and he's trying to get the surfer
Sick.
and trying to snag these shots. And he got caught off guard by this one wave, and it threw his housing right into his scalp, and it snagged him and like cut him open right up top. And so we're in the middle of Portugal on the beach, like there's nothing around.
No.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, we'll take him to the ER," and we're like, "Okay."
What's the
Bye,
ER?
Kyle.
Yeah.
And so like they
He
took
never
him,
comes
and we're
back.
like, "All right, Kyle's gone." And then like the shoot was kind of like, "Well, we still have a lot to get done." And so we're just like, go. And so Alex and I are just like picking up, his slack from being gone. We're just,
So was it a bad gash or like?
it was pretty rough. I think I can't remember
Need
if
some
they
stitches, maybe?
stitched him or super glued him, but like they
Mother
had
Nature
they
is
had to
wild, man.
Get him closed up. Dude,
She'll
that same-
humble you real quick.
That same trip we had a RS2 with a whole rig go down in the sand off the back of a Land Rover. And like buried, like completely buried. And then we had TSA freaking pulled our Inspire 2 out with a X7 on it. And then they went to put it back into the case,
You gotta love it.
and they just snapped it right off.
You gotta love it.
Thankfully, we had a backup,
Good.
and so
So that was going out to the shoot.
going out. So
Oh my
like,
God, I would have shit myself.
yeah, I was just like,
What did you do?
That's like
They had a backup.
That's one of our biggest
No,
fears.
I know you had a backup. What did you say to the TSA?
Dude, it's,
can't.
It's so fucking.
don't care?
You
You can
can't.
say.
There's nothing you
No.
can say.
They even left their little slip, like, "Hey,
Dude.
we checked your case."
Oh, so that was not.
Hey, we
them.
broke your shit.
Yeah, because we checked it. So it was just kind of like,
Dude, in the like early 2000s, they smashed the shit out of my dad's Palm Pilot. Yes, Palm Pilot days. Wouldn't do shit about that, like anything.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
They have free license to just destroy your shit.
Damn.
That's why we go Southwest Freight. Let's go.
Yeah, do you know about that?
Southwest
Oh,
No.
How much equipment do you guys?
Change your
Yo,
life.
let's
dude.
talk about 17 cases with 4 people in an airport.
2,000 pounds.
No more.
No more. I don't do that. I don't even bring a case inside anymore.
we do the media passes for everything.
live that.
Yeah, but
That's
that's fine.
Time out,
We'd still
dude.
do that for our normal bags. They don't shit. They don't
Yeah.
know.
The cameras, the batteries,
Southwest
our stuff.
Freight, bro.
Yeah.
You get your gear. You put it in the truck. You go to Southwest
So-
Freight. You drop it off.
What do you do if you're not flying Southwest?
They go to
go
a
like
shit ton of
everywhere.
destinations.
Yeah, they go like everywhere.
Yeah. And if not, they have partners that go to other cities too.
So they can transfer.
I mean, sometimes you'll fly to a location specifically for your freight necessarily, but like they have a bunch of partners.
They have a
They
bunch of
cover,
stuff. But it's
the
way
majority.
cheaper.
Like you're not going to fly to Portugal on freight
Yeah.
or anything like that.
There's a
but like
solution,
the
though.
majority of U.S. and Mexico, Canada, and Caribbean and stuff, you can just show up, put it on a pallet,
and it's gone.
We
And it shows up.
We had a
See it when
job
you get there.
in the British Virgin Islands, and it was at this like resort, and we were coming back, and I think we had 21 cases going out.
Oh my
And
God.
we were coming back, and there was like 5 of us coming back, and we flew a different route than out there, and we checked with all the airlines going out to make sure media passes were taken and everything, so that we just get our preferred rate and yada yada. Coming back, and we realized we're taking a different airline from one island to another island. And we get there to like check in, and they're like, yeah, it's going to be, I mean, what was it? It was something, it was like, I think it was like $8,900 just to get the bags across. And we're like, dude, that negates this whole production. Like, that's going to kill it. And so we wound up like arguing with customs and TSA and all them for like an hour. And finally they just were like, okay, fine.
they didn't have time for it. They're like, you want to know what my lunch is in 30 minutes?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Dude, it's
You hassle them
crazy.
enough.
Dude.
We had, you guys know what carnets are, right? We had this carnet. We had just bought a carnet and spent like $600 on it, and it was like three spots for 3 trips.
Right.
And we go to the agent at Phoenix Sky Harbor, and he fills out the wrong spot, and so he had to redo it on the next spot. And so he like just like
my God,
spent all our money on filling it out incorrectly. And so he's like, hey, sorry, and we're like, cool, like
Thanks for-
literally like, you have to ship these things to you. You can't like print them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we finally got to, I can't remember where we're going, but we got to where we're going, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to take that. This looks fishy.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Dude, the worst,
Dude,
the worst
some
like
shitty travel,
situation. I mean, it's like all travel. There's always something.
I
But
guess.
Yeah, like when we went to Samoa, and they lost our bags, or my bags. My bags got lost for 3 days.
Yeah, that's true.
filmmaking just adds complexity to travel.
Yeah, but Southwest Freight, we haven't had that many issues yet.
Yeah.
are you guys sponsored by Southwest?
We should be.
We should be. Oh my gosh.
Hit me up.
Getting close.
Talk to the agent.
Yeah, we know. Anyway, it's the way to go. If you're doing anything, just look it up.
If you're in a position, I'll say this: they don't give it to everybody.
No,
So
it's
if
a
you're
corporate
if you're in a
account.
position to establish the corporate account with them, and get it set up, it does. Especially if you're like us or you guys, where you're traveling with 21 cases or 2,000 pounds of
so
gear.
necessary.
It is night and day difference. And we traveled a lot in the like bringing cases with us and checking them.
It's almost
and
$1
then doing
an hour.
freight, and it's like it's worth, because sometimes it's a little bit more than if you check baggage on the math side, but the ease of
always.
use is worth it. I would say.
I think you spend more checking bags for sure. Eventually,
You
It'll
definitely
catch up.
spend more on your life and like your happiness doing that.
Because then you just show up, you land, you just have your backpack and
Yeah.
whatever, and then you get a truck and they just load it in there.
Yeah, go pick
They
your
get
shit
the
up.
thing, pallet, drop it in, out.
Don't even tell me that.
Work smarter, not
But
harder.
I mean, like Portugal and different, like, there's going to be other travel situations. Like when we go to Samoa, you have to take 5 planes to get there or whatever. So like that's different situations for sure.
One
But
of my
in
first
general.
trips to Mexico, we got down there and we had like 7 cases, and they were like kind of bigger cases.
Sure.
And we didn't have a carnet. We didn't even know what that was. And at the time, we're just kind of like, well, let's go through. And so we're going through customs all at the same time, all 3 of us, and we're just like all 7 cases. Like,
Explain what a carnet is so people don't know. what that
carnet
is.
is basically a document that the U.S. government authenticates. So you basically are saying, I'm going to pay taxes on goods I'm bringing back into the country ahead of time instead of having to be taxed. So what happened in Mexico was they stop us and they're like, hey, what is all this stuff? And we're like, it's professional use gear we're going to be using in Mexico. And they're like, you know, the officials in Mexico are like, well, you can't take that because this is a bunch of money worth of gear and we think you're going to leave it in Mexico. You know?
Yeah.
And so we want to tax it.
Sure.
And so we're like, okay, well, what's the tax? And they go into the office and they come back.
You tell them a false number?
And we kind of did because we had probably like 90 in gear.
Sure.
And so I think we told them we had like, I don't know, 35, 40,
Yeah,
somewhere
totally,
in there.
totally.
Like, because
They don't know the difference.
$9,000.
depreciation.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It was all used. You can say that.
But they come back and the official is like, okay, it's going to cost you $26,000 in taxes to get into
Is
the
that
country.
pesos?
to get into the country. And we're like, no, we're just like
Is that paid in
blown away.
tortillas?
Like,
How many-
what?
26,000 tortillas?
Canceled. Canceled.
And so we're like, no, sorry, we can't do that. Like, just, I guess, send us back to the States.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, come with us. And so they split us up into 3 different rooms. And then we kind of realized these kind of look like interrogation rooms. These are weird. Like, and then they come in, they're like, hey, let me see your wallet. And they take our wallets. And we're like, okay, this is bizarre.
Take all your
Like,
wallets.
They took our wallets. And then like the rooms are like interrogation rooms, but they're like frosted glass so you can kind of see through them. And the guy literally just goes back to his desk and he's pulling
Takes all the money out.
all of our cards out
Yeah.
and just running the cards. Just one at a time, just running.
Dude,
running.
it's
And, like,
weird down there.
it was
I will say that
crazy.
it's
Like,
so weird down there.
I mean, for the most part, like most countries we go to,
Sure,
even
fine,
Mexico included, like we've had really good experiences, but like this case was
Sometimes.
bizarre. And they wound up getting like, I think like $400 or $600 out of one of our cards that actually went through. And then they let us
Can't
through.
you just go
but
back
we're
and
like,
cancel it anyway?
Yeah, we actually just, client, I think, paid for it. But like, we're just like, whatever. But thank God. we went through.
Cheaper than $26. Dude, they even like a speeding ticket, because my family used to have a house down in Puerto Penasco.
Yeah.
They would set up speed traps with like a Hot Wheels radar gun that was like stuck on like 80, and they would just pull you over and be like, look, and you're just like, I don't have any money. And they're like $200. And you're like, I don't have $200. And then you're like, will you take a 20? One time I think I got
You have
off
to
like
hide
giving
your-
them a case of beer or something.
Yeah.
And they're just like, all right. They look at each other like, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hide your
there's-
actual money somewhere and then have the stuff that you want to give to them as bribery outside.
Just a racket, especially when you're traveling with like
I just
equipment.
avoid driving down there in general, but
So, yeah.
But that's a good tip for filmmakers too, is like when you're traveling to different countries, like
Be aware.
first off, know the process to get into the country with the equipment, and then understand culturally, like, don't flaunt certain items.
Well,
and
that's the thing is if you're informed and kind of understand it, like that's so much better that you know, when you go through customs and you're just blatant, like, I don't know, like they're just going to attack you and just get all over you. But like we went through Antigua, and that country like welcomed us with open arms. They're like, hey, you guys are coming. Okay, we'll make sure you're good. And we're like, okay, there's no documents or anything. And they're like, no. And so we get to Antigua, and literally people are waiting for us.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, hey,
awesome.
welcome. We got your bags. Like, we got
Dude,
this.
that's
And we're
legit.
like, dude, this is like vacation.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
That's cool.
that's like Samoa. They didn't care. We were
dude.
partying the whole time. They
I
were
couldn't believe how
stoked on
nice those
everything.
people were.
They didn't care
It's
about anything.
another world.
Did you think getting into filmmaking that you would travel to some of the places you've traveled to?
I don't know. I love travel, and like I traveled quite a bit growing up, and so I think that's why I kind of migrate more
Gravitate,
towards
yeah.
it. But at the same time, like I think once I realized that filmmaking had that opportunity, I was kind of like, okay, now I'm hooked.
Right.
Like,
True.
What other percentage of jobs are you out on site rather than in a studio?
In studio or well,
Or say, let's say, like, because you say, like, for us, a lot of our stuff is on site.
yeah,
Like, we do a lot of just on site work, out in, outside of the studio.
yeah.
what would you
I'd say we're
say?
like 10 to 15% studio.
Okay.
The rest is
outside.
out in the field.
Nice.
Yeah, which is good because like studio, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
Studio.
If you can make your work look really good outside, you can do anything in the studio. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Control-wise, because you're controlled in here.
Studio is also kind of hard
It is.
if you reverse that too, because you're looking at the studio and you're like, well, now how do I make this,
this
just
look
as
real?
hype or as cool? Like, at least that's also kind of the side that like I definitely prefer. And I know a lot of filmmakers lean towards shooting natural and like just trying to use what's available. I think a lot of people like push too hard to make something that isn't, what I mean? They try to light something and try to bring too much production to something that just sucks. And it kind of, it comes back to, again, like the whole culinary thing. Like if you start with really fresh ingredients, then it's easy to make a really good dish. If you start with like a rotten eggplant and rotten beef,
It's hard to make.
that's going to be really hard to make. You know what I mean? Like it's
probably gonna taste like
just,
shit.
Yeah, it's going to be awful. So like, yeah, you're just screwed. So
So what's your favorite ingredient then in that case to start with, like perspective wise? I mean, do you start with like storyline? Do
Can you go to the
start
bathroom,
with,
by the
like-
way? Sorry.
no, I'm good.
Drink.
I might take a quick bathroom break.
Do a quick bathroom break then.
This is a good
Pause.
break. So this one, we're going to touch another question here. This one comes from Sean Wilcoxon. I put my neck out here by pronouncing everybody's IG names. Was there a piece of advice that you got that helped you be the director that you are today? So whether that's from
Interesting question.
I mean, I would interpret that coming a piece of advice from somebody that you've worked with, or just something you've learned.
The people want to know.
Okay, I don't know if it was a piece of advice as much as it was experience, but one of my good buddies, Mark Susan, he's a photographer and just this crazy chef and just eccentric dude. I met him on a shoot, and he owned the studio at the time, or he was renting the studio at the time, and he kind of showed me that like you can push yourself a lot further than you think. I feel like I had a very like tame mentality in terms of like, okay, like I'm going to edit until like 10, and like, you know, if I start getting tired, like I should just shut it down. But like, I don't know, he would just chill, and we would edit all nighters and like just go for it and push. And I think that mentality of like learning, you can go so much further and you can push yourself, and your breaking point is so far from what you actually think it is. You can produce so much more. Like you pushing the envelope is ultimately the big thing for me, is being proactive and just going out and doing it. Because most people kind of just stop. They get to like a roadblock and they're like, well, I don't know how to get into this country. I don't know how to fill out the carnet. I don't know how to do X, Y, Z. I mean, I don't know how to fill out the transportation forms to get semi trucks from California to Nevada for this big shoot, right? Like these crazy things that are like producer tasks or filmmaker tasks or like DPs or whoever, like you just kind of have to push through and just go for it. And that's something he taught me early on. And I feel like that I carried that across. So whenever I ran into something, it was just kind of like, well, screw it, just keep going. And, you know, I might fail, like, and that's the whole thing is you fail 5 times, maybe the 6th time you succeed.
Yeah.
The only thing you're going to remember is succeeding.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Not really advice, but
That's really good.
No, I mean, that's
That was
what you
awesome.
got. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what taught you. So that's valuable.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we can relate to that a lot. The amount of all-nighters we used to pull at the beginning, and
We still do. We shot the Omens virtual set
we still do.
music video and came back to the office and grabbed some beers and stayed here till 4 a.m.
but we always say it's like
to see
when you hone into those, when you hone into that like vibe and that role that you get on, that creative role, you kind of you can't diminish it and walk away from it. You got to soak it up and you got to own it, because it doesn't come all the time, you know.
And also, like, when you kind of put yourself in uncomfortable positions, that's also where you get more creative and, like, you do things that, like, you don't really think to do normally.
Yeah.
And it kind of results in just, like, different expectations of different things happening.
The aha moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like everything I'm saying is so cliche because everyone kind of says the same thing about productivity, but, like, I don't know.
Really.
It just comes back to, like, dude, you just got to go so much harder. Yeah. And that's ultimately, at the end of the day, I brought up Renan earlier, and, like, ultimately for me, I think if you really want to stand out, you got to do something that no one else is willing to do.
100%.
And go further to get noticed and to kind of make your own splash.
Yeah.
Anything worth doing is never going to be easy.
No.
Yeah. My wife always yells at me because I always do everything the hardest way, because I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, let's do it the absolute right way.
That's
what
And she's like, why wouldn't you just do it the easy way? I'm like, well, because I'm going to have to go back and do it again.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Exactly. My mom told me it's just that if you're going to do anything, just do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Or don't do it at all. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Just don't do it at all if you're not going to do it right. Yeah. And so that stuck in my mind.
My mom always said, life's a bitch and then you die.
Hey, there's truth in that.
That's
awesome. Well, you said you might have had some questions for us. What's been cooking up in your brain?
I guess, you know, you guys, like, we're 2 production houses, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've kind of gone over what matter is and what our form and function looks like. And you guys are more specialty ops execution, right? You're looking at directors and production houses coming to you and saying, hey, we have this problem. Can you solve it? Yeah. And then you solve it. Like, how much of that is your business versus you guys going out and trying to create a film start to scratch?
Sure. So I would say
start to scratch. From
scratch to scratch.
Start to. We're working in reverse.
It's fine. It's okay. It's scratch to start to
scratch.
To switch, whatever
Let's just
it is.
stick with that.
The majority of our business has been recently built off of that specialty side, right? That's how we've been able to grow because we've been focused on that so much and building a team that can be really good at those specific items. But there's still a lot of clients that come to us for start to finish stuff. You know, like Scary Kids, Scaring Kids, for example, that's full start to finish. They said, here you go. What can you do with it? And we kind of ran with it a little bit further. Like you said, if you're going to do it right. And So we went a little bit further with that. But I'd say probably 80% of our business is pursuit, specialty ops, cable cam, and the rest of it is creative, full start to finish. I mean, from a phone call to delivering a final product.
Yeah.
And we're fine with that. We love the pursuit stuff because it's enabled us to.
The pursuit stuff facilitates our style,
It does.
how we got into it and what we really enjoy in a piece, right? And the moving the camera.
But we didn't start doing that at all.
Yeah, but it was definitely a goal in the beginning to always
100%.
be able to move the camera in the ways that we now can.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. But like,
Well, and it's fun too because that mentality, like the 80% funds the equipment for the 20% when we want to like do
Just go have
passion
fun.
projects or like
Yeah.
do really cool things for clients.
Right.
Like we have a camera car to like lean on. We have a robot. We have a heavy lift drone. We have all this equipment that's like being paid for on the client side of things with providing pursuit and specialty camera.
Yeah.
So then when we want to go ham on something,
do a
like,
passion project,
we
like,
have like the toolbox to
just
just
go
like
into
Yeah,
pick
we
choose
and
from.
since like the toolbox is ours, we have all that time and energy to spend to practice that stuff, and we never have to worry about it being in front of us. We always have the ability.
but
to,
like, yeah, no, that's true.
we always have the ability to mess with these tools and
Yeah.
to grow with the tools.
Yeah. But we're
That's the
always trying to
important
push-
part, is to grow with it.
Yeah. But like a couple weeks ago, we did golf stuff, and they just wanted us to do simple interviews and then go run around and do stuff. But we're like, hey, let's throw in this, like throw in the Emodimo for some interview stuff. Like we're always trying to give some little things to just spice up something that would be just general and boring.
Take it to
So
the
we
next
do a
level.
lot of those, like interviews is like, that's our bread and butter. We love, like we could do that stuff all day long. Like we love interviews. Like we love setting the scene for a specific, interview. We love that. But sometimes,
I mean, that goes back to what you
different.
said. We didn't always have all the equipment to do that. So interviews became a way for us to creatively, like create a composition and then light that composition and have like a product to be proud of. And then it kind of stemmed into being able to do like the pursuit stuff and that higher end echelon of the cinema
It's
space.
been a fucking blast though, just learning the equipment and building relationships and testing stuff for certain people and getting feedback. Like the fact that these people are reaching back out to get feedback for stuff has been awesome.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a run-on thing, but,
But
it's been a fun thing to do.
I'm sure the business has changed over time because I mean, like even for me personally, like I was very technical when I kind of got into my career, like just very technical minded.
Yeah.
I'm always like trying to study up and like know exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
Versus now where I have a lot less focus on the technical side because I'm depending upon other people who can come in and be better than me at doing something like that.
Which alleviates a lot of
kind of
pressure.
alleviates it and allows me to put, efforts other places and be
Use that creative head.
Be the creative
but
drive
at the same
in
time, like,
operation.
I don't know, I guess that to me is like, you guys' business is so technical. Like, do you guys ever fear like losing any technicality or like being disinterested in having to study up or like?
No, I think
no.
there's always innovation with companies building new equipment, or at least ourselves of trying to figure out how to. Like our list is never ending of what we want to build. Like I don't know where it's going to go, but I've got everything in front of it for what we want next kind of deal. So
I think I'm gonna chime in here as like a devil's advocate. I think there have been times on passion projects, I guess, where the technical mindset drives the approach to the project, and so much effort is dedicated to the technical execution and the piece of equipment required for it that there's a lot of lost cause on the real meaning behind the piece in some cases.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that as we age and mature more, we're more aware of, like, why are you using a certain piece of equipment? Like you're not going to use it just to use it necessarily anymore. And then with maturity, we're like, what are we trying to tell story wise?
because
And
you don't
what
always
fits
have to
into the
move
place.
camera.
But also in a technical practice sense, it doesn't hurt to just have time on things and tinker with things all the
100%.
time. But there have been some times where I've kind of noticed, like, perhaps we're just like
In the motion.
coming at it from a technical side of
Yeah.
things. And in that case, we've missed maybe some opportunities to have more focus on story or something. We disconnect from like the reason for why something's happening.
Yeah, I totally get that.
With equipment, and that's everybody. I mean, that's everybody going out there and saying, like, I need a red camera to be a better filmmaker when there's Netflix and everything else out there, shows that have been shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of technology and it's so rapidly evolving at this point in time, and there's so many different aspects to it that I think a lot of people just get caught up in like the sauce.
Yeah.
And in two ways, they get caught up in the sauce of like, well, I can't do this project without a camera car or any of this stuff. And then they also get caught up in the sauce. Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
And his brain broke.
It's gone. But like, I guess that's where I was kind of going with it is like, I've had jobs where we try to just do something that's technical, something that we've never done before. Right. And that kind of takes over. And sometimes like that furthers the creative and makes it so much cooler than it could have been. But other times, like it's kind of like we're so focused on that, we kind of forget the other stuff.
Totally. I mean,
double-edged
it's
sword.
interesting because we get so drained in like the technicality sometimes that we lose that our creative vision, and that's kind of where the business comes into play. We've been so business oriented, like we lose that creative flow. It's kind of the same thing with the technical stuff. Like you don't always have to be into technical stuff to be doing cool shit. Like this is why we did a new series called Posey, where we limit ourselves to 2 lights and 2 cameras.
Super cool.
Period.
Super.
We don't do anything else.
Yep.
But 2 lights and 2 cameras. You can use any diffusers, any type of function or form or stand or whatever you want, but you got 2 lights and you got 2 cameras. What can you create with it?
Well, and you're committed to your focal lengths you pick on the cameras.
Yeah.
Because it's just like put yourself in a box and just be raw creative again.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun. So we've been doing projects like during the pandemic, we did that, and it opened up doors for people to have stories for their businesses and whatever. And we didn't do anything. We didn't charge shit, but it was just for us to get out there and just make sure that we are still,
brushing up on our skills.
Yeah,
going
exactly.
after it, yeah.
So just keep it kind of back to our the fuck do they call that? God damn it.
I don't know. It's therapeutic.
Back to your roots. Jesus.
It's therapeutic for us as a team to be able to like do that and go back to our roots.
And edit however you want. Do what you want.
Yeah, and like
have no
dabble
agency,
with
no
other
client,
things and like
no whatever. Just do it.
Yeah.
Well,
we get caught up all the time with like these jobs that are just like ongoing and going and going and going. And 3 months later, you're like,
It's draining. I don't want to do it anymore.
Like, I have no time to like think about passion projects or no time to think about extra stuff I want to do on top. And that's like just a bad situation. And it's kind of like we need to take a step back and try to put ourselves in a position where we're 70% packed and we've got that 30% to burn.
Yep.
Whether it's just being creative and like daydreaming. Totally. We used to do this thing back in the day where we would get to work and Kyle and I would sit down and like literally like an hour and a half of just Vimeo.
Just go through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, just like everything that we had watched the previous night, or like we're just
There's some
showing
amazing films on that.
Okay, hang on. Can I chime in on this one?
He did do that a lot.
Yeah.
I have a playlist and I would come in and I'd show people this, but I had a Facebook group that was private, and anything I saw on Vimeo or YouTube that really stood out to me, post it like just any time of day. If I open that back up, would you guys all want to be a part of it?
Probably.
Absolutely not.
And we could
just kidding.
and maybe open it up to some other people if you're a listener or whatnot.
Yeah.
But just like if you see something that's inspirational or something you really like, post a link to it, and then maybe a little sentence of why it stood out to you.
Yeah.
Or
There's
like
a lot of
really
amazing
liked
work
about
out there.
I mean, that's the super cool thing. It gives you so much inspiration. I used to have a Vimeo likes like page that I was curating, and like I think it got to like 28 pages worth of Vimeo videos like over the course of like 4 years. So like I would constantly, like every client we had like that I was pitching or trying to talk to,
Give an example.
I'd always be scrolling through page after page.
You have a Rolodex
until
of
I find it. Yeah, exactly. And like eventually I kind of like dried that up, and you know, but like it's really good to constantly be searching for the next thing. I think it keeps it fresh. It's too easy to kind of get stuck in you know, just doing what you're doing.
You're not always going to be the biggest. You're not going to be the best. You're not going to be the richest. Like I've always been told that. Like there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to know something more than you, and you know their creative is going to be something you've never been able to think about before. And so you're going to spark ideas from that. You know, by seeing Vimeo stuff that you may have never thought about before. Like, oh, holy cow, I can, and then that may spark other ideas that you can go off. I'm not saying copying people, but it sparks other ideas that you're like, wow, I might go try that or go do this and do that.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of crazy because you look at these videos that are 10, 15 years old and you're like, whoa,
they're awesome.
30 years old, doesn't matter. Like these things and concepts that have been done over time. I mean, everything's kind of a duplication.
Reincarnation of itself.
Especially now with everyone just trying to make it in that space and just copy each other.
It's the tic-tac.
Fucking
Damn
tic-tac.
Tic-tac.
TikTokers and the YouTubers just copying each other. You got to find your own rhythm, own path, own way, own look, own vision, own whatever.
Well, you can kind of find a style that resonates to you. Like my Vimeo is definitely stilted more towards like French commercial filmmaking.
Oh, they're amazing.
Because they just, the shit that I was seeing coming out on like the sneaker ads and just everything, I was like so drawn to it. Like they're shooting film,
which
and
is
they
super
got all
creative.
these crazy things going on. Like that is unique, and I love that. But that's kind of how a good way to find what stands out to you, and then emulate it going forward.
Yeah.
100%. 100. That's facts.
That's facts.
That's facts.
That's facts.
That's facts.
Oh, you want to get on the board
That's
over
facts.
here, dude? There's a lot of stuff over here, dude.
Preloaded.
We gotta step our soundboard
Yeah,
up.
we gotta get our soundboard game back on. Is this the yellow one, the clap one?
We might need to add a canceled one for John on that one.
Wow.
Cancel.
Canceled.
I was on Tony's. I got canceled a few times, but it's okay.
John's like, it's okay. We'll
Whatever,
get canceled
dude.
again.
Yeah, probably. No, I don't say anything bad.
You guys familiar with Brain Farm?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dude, they were blowing me away, obviously, with the Art of
Yeah.
Flight and everything. But, dude, such a crazy concept that they just built their production house kind of out of nothing and just went hard for it, you know? And, like, obviously, I think it turned into Wolves with Kurt Morgan in LA now.
Yeah.
But, dude, it's just
Awesome.
still, like, it's like one of those definitive things that, like, you see and you're like, I could do that.
Yeah. Totally.
It's crazy what they're doing, but like
I could do that.
well, that's just like how you watch the BTS
Right.
stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, like they just figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
they don't know what they're doing, and I think that's another takeaway is like a lot of people have no idea what they're doing. You know, like and
100%.
they're building their companies, and they're figuring it out. Like it's all hard work, but
Totally.
yeah,
Figuring it out along the way.
yeah,
I think if you get to a point where you like know everything that you're doing or 100% confident in everything you're doing as a business owner or as a company or an entrepreneur or a filmmaker,
yeah,
you're on the trend to die. Like you always have to have that element of like unknown.
That's what stresses me out all the time because I'm always like, when
And
we were
like-
starting up, we were always doing new stuff. We were always trying to, we're testing new equipment. We were always out there doing something new to do it. So like, it always stresses me out. Like when we're not doing that, like, are we falling behind? Like, are we not
Well, that's what I
staying
mean.
up
When you're
with
buried in
you know?
projects and you're not focusing
Right.
on the future at all. You're just focusing on like the now and trying to get through project after project.
Right.
And like you go 6 months of just project after project, and you kind of realize like, well, we haven't gone out and done anything for us in forever.
Yeah.
And like that is that's a tough one to take, and you just got to go do it. But like,
You just got to make the time. You got to say, hey, fuck it. This is it.
Sometimes
All
it
my
gets-
jobs, I'm going to block out a week here or a couple days, and nobody can book me for those days.
yeah.
Sometimes
prioritize.
client work just drains the soul out of you. Just the like that process of like the business of like
Pays the bills,
pitch,
but it drains you.
the selling of the idea, then the execution. It just kind of like
Or it doesn't sell,
you
and then
need
you did all that work.
you need something that like is yours.
Yeah.
Dude,
to feed the soul.
I had one client forever ago, and it was like a bra company, like like a active wear bra company.
Okay.
Anyhow, like we shot this whole thing, and like it was all like handheld and
Sure. Just raw.
Ronin one and just,
Oh, wow.
just running around.
Sick. I
And
know that thing.
put together this 5-minute film, like just hours and weeks of post, and finally get this whole thing together, and I'm super pumped on it. Client flies in, sits down next to me in the edit bay, and like watches the film with me, and like it finishes, and I look over at her, and she's like crying, like tears just coming down, and I'm like borderline getting goosebumps, like wow, she really likes it. I did a good job. And then I was like, so what do you think? And she's like, it's awful. I'm like, oh no. Oh, it's going the other way. I'm like,
Simulation.
I was like, I don't know what to say. Like,
It's awful. She was crying because it was bad.
I was just like, I don't know what to say. I put everything into it. Like, and like, I'm going through all these emotions. I'm like, what do I tell you? Like, this is everything we've talked about for the last 2
Did
2
she
months.
not like it because of her?
Was she in it?
It was no, she wasn't even in it. It was just like I don't know. She was something else. It was just I don't know, man. I thought our
That's pretty- I did
expectations
not
were
expect
aligned.
that.
Like I thought it was
That's pretty blunt.
beautiful.
That is always the limb that you go out on though when
Yeah.
you watch work with the client in the room with you. Is you're like, is it gonna? It's like being a comic on stage. You're like, is this one gonna hit or is it gonna be a total fucking
Flatline.
clusterfuck? Like,
Dude, yeah, that was
What was the dialogue after that? I'm just so curious now.
well that was the hard part. Is like then we're sitting there, and she's like trying to get a hold of herself. She's crying so bad.
That bad?
Yeah, I was like,
What affected her that much?
well, like she was like dumping money into this film to like make it happen. Like she just thought it was awful, and ultimately like she had 3 other editors who freelance edited from the start, like redid the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like I'm telling you now, like
Sure,
I'm not
sure,
being
sure.
pretentious here, but like the footage was good.
Sure.
It was better than she should have
gotta
gotten.
be confident in your work.
And like what we produced was like exactly what she asked for, but like she just wasn't happy no matter what. No matter
Oh,
what
man, we've
editor
been there.
worked on it. And like that
I
was just
relate.
like, yeah, that's pretty.
I relate
that's pretty
hard to
humbling.
that.
That is
I was like,
humbling, yeah.
whoa, okay.
So what did you learn from that to do next, to not do whatever you did? Well, what did you even learn?
That one
you
was
didn't even
tough.
do anything
It's
wrong.
like, I don't know how much
that's
I
like a
learned
conundrum.
from
You
that,
didn't do
but
anything
like-
wrong. It's like
Yeah, I don't know how much there is to learn from that,
I
other
don't
than
know.
some people are just
That's
assholes.
just the thing we
I guess
learned
that's
is we don't work with that client anymore, hopefully.
Sometimes that's a valid
How
answer.
many clients have you dropped?
Dropped.
Don't say names, but how many have you dropped?
How many
Now we're getting
clients
to the
have
on the
you
real
fired?
portion of the podcast.
Have you ever fired a client, I guess?
Yeah, but not as many as we should.
So it's a real question.
Yeah.
Not as many as we
we've-
should. Okay,
We fired
interesting.
clients.
Sure.
Like,
We've
Nah,
absolutely
Alex is
done
getting
it.
spicy over there now. He's like, how many clients have you fired?
Yeah.
I mean,
How many people have you cussed on to?
I feel like I'm a pretty nice guy. Like even if like
No, sure.
come to
You're-
like
you're
ceasing
nice.
a contract, but like you still like you give them an option for someone who's better suited to take on their needs. Like I think it just it comes down
Yeah.
to like flat out firing because I hate you. Like
No. Totally.
I don't
No.
know if I've ever
Yeah,
gone there.
No,
Like,
firing as in you just send a nice email, but you respectfully say, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
It's respectful.
I don't know if
you're not a
I
good
But
think-
you have to do
You're not
that
a good match.
mentally. It's
I
a
think
bad
a few,
relationship.
but
If you don't do that, you'll
thankfully,
be drowning.
I think because of expectations being set at the beginning, like
Sure.
I don't feel like I've had to do that a ton.
Okay.
But
I'll just say
that
4
was
or
all.
5. How many say? 2, 1. I want a number.
You want
We
exact
need
number.
numericals.
I want a numerical
It's
number.
like he's getting flashbacks back in Mexico
Yeah.
interrogation room. Like, I don't know where my wallet is. Like, fuck.
I don't know. I would say like 7 to 12.
Okay, then that's
Because
more than I
we've
thought.
handled a lot of projects over the years.
Sure.
It's just,
I mean, you did 3,700 deliverables in 1 year. I can imagine you have a lot of clients.
I mean, it goes.
So 7, 12. So that's not bad. The odds are good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like if you, I guess with commercial filmmaking, like
Mm-hmm.
if you allow the producers or the account managers to get in the way and you don't understand the expectations of that owner or that marketing manager
Yeah.
who is asking for what that creative is, then you're just kind of screwing yourself at
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And so if you listen to them and understand you have the same expectations, but
Then you're
they
fine.
also have the same expectations for what you're creating,
Right.
then it's usually pretty much set. And like it's hard to go wrong, you know,
Right.
if you put your effort into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there are some clients where you just like
I can't do this.
it's just you know, you're gonna grind it. It's just
Or you
gonna-
think it works and then it never does. And you're just like
Yeah.
that lady crying about your film.
yeah.
That's one.
That's like the client reaction you have in your nightmares, though.
Yeah, for real.
I
Look
know,
over your
like-
client and they're literally in tears.
That
from
was a
how bad
good
it
story.
is.
He got me. You got me, dude.
I
I
forgot
was like,
about-
he's just crying. Just like I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Man.
Oh,
It's
no, that's not
wholesome. That's awesome.
good.
So wholesome.
So wholesome, bro. I
think-
can't believe you did that.
The crazy part is like you.
I was thinking of projects that we made people cry. I'm like, oh, it was so positive, and then you're like, drop this fucking. She hated
I
it.
know. It's like making people cry is kind of like the epitome of like what you want to do, right? Like
Yeah, no,
just,
yeah.
like,
It's the
feel
pulling the
something.
motion out of them.
if they cry, like
Win.
got it. Yeah,
fuck
that's a
yeah,
big
dude.
win.
Yeah.
That's a big win.
That's an addy, dude. Fuck.
But but like I don't know, man. It was just like that caught me off guard, and that was just like that was one of those moments where I'm like a really even keeled dude.
Sure.
I had to kind of walk away and be like, you know, okay, I need a minute. Like this is crazy.
I'm gonna
This is-
step
That is
out.
so
The
crazy.
timeline
This
is
is
there if you
insane.
want to jump on and figure
my
that out.
God, can you
Is that your
imagine?
craziest reaction
That's gotta
to
be.
date?
I think
What's crazier?
My craziest. I don't know. I mean, with client, I don't know.
Oh, I forgot. One pulled a shotgun out of her.
He's got some stories.
I don't know.
I think that was a great share.
I mean, that's leave it at that. But that sounds pretty crazy.
Damn, I don't even know what I would do if a client started crying.
I don't know what I would do.
I think I would start
the
laughing.
weird part
I
is
think
like
I
we're
would.
sitting there and like
John would
I don't-
start laughing.
I would start laughing. Like, are you kidding me right now?
What do you do? Like
I would
she's
laugh. I
she's
think I would
still
laugh.
crying, and like eventually
I'd
I
be
was
like-
like, well, what can I do to fix it?
Yeah.
And she's literally like, I don't think anything.
I would laugh in shock.
You know, it's just like
fuck.
she
Oh
was
my
just done with it, and I'm like, okay,
I think that's one of those moments where you're like, they probably have too much invested in this than they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I think it was more of a situation.
Or clearly
where, like,
they were not good at getting their creative vision across.
Which is
You
a
know
lot
what I'm
of
saying?
that's a lot of the
Yeah.
problems too.
Yeah.
People
I think
expect something
That was
they
kind of
don't
a crazy case where like she just like
Yeah.
had
sure.
too much in it or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
making clients cry. That's wild.
We haven't had any crying bad clients yet. Knock on wood.
No crying bad clients. No. Maybe some yelling bad clients. I'm struggling.
Yeah, no, I've had that.
You ever see a film called Last Moments with Odin on Vimeo?
No.
I think it's like 7 years old or something. It's about this dog that dies. It's like this doc that this guy makes, and he's this gnarly like punk dude in San Diego, and his dog like is dying of cancer or something, and like he makes
terrible.
like the last 5 days of his dog's life. He like documents it, and like it's the most like it's beautiful and it's really well done, and like it's shot on like DSLRs like 70 or something.
Whatever,
But like
it's a story.
it's just I don't know. It's always stuck with me, and like but nobody in the world can watch that start to finish and not be absolutely weeping.
Oh,
Yeah, you can't mess with me and pets.
sometimes I have to avoid stuff like that because literally that's me.
Yeah.
I just
Have
I
you ever
can't
reached
deal
out
with
to
the
him?
sadness.
You ever emailed that guy and say, "Wow, dude, you impacted me"?
Him, no, but I've actually done that quite a bit with other films. Like
Yeah.
Gnarly Bay is a company out of Rhode Island, I think, and they do just amazing pieces. And they have one called Story for Tomorrow. And I wrote this like 4-page email to him, just like how it changed me. You know, like
Wow.
I don't know, and it's super.
They respond
cool.
back?
Yeah, they responded back. And,
Nice.
like I almost took a job with them at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, it's just like little things like that. Like you don't.
Goes a long way.
There's so much that goes into producing a piece, and then like for someone to reach out and say, "Hey, dude, good job," or like, "Hey,
No,
that was awesome." Like,
awesome.
That is life changing. Let alone like them coming in and saying like,
Yep.
"Hey, that changed me." You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
It's funny how they don't realize something that small is that impactful though, or it
I
can
know.
be.
I know. Right.
You don't want to force it out of them either. You want it to be organic because that's the best way to.
Yeah. You don't want to go to people.
encapsulate
What do
that.
you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it good?
Oh man, we've been in those positions where like we just get feedback, and then you kind of have to force some
Yeah.
positivity.
That's never gonna be good.
And you're like, "Did you like it though?
Is there anything that you really stood out to?
Is there anything that like
Is there
made
anything
you
good about
excited?"
this?
Yeah,
That's-
for sure. So
yeah, happened
it's
few
a
times.
yeah,
That's hard.
It's all about managing expectations at the start.
yeah, 100%.
That's a really good point.
But also reach out to people. It's super cool. No matter, even if it's like a little
Yeah.
comment or like a big 4-page email, it matters more to the community and to the people that are making that work than anything. I've done it a few times on some films where I'm like,
Yeah.
just got to send you a little.
Creatives love feedback
comment,
that people relate to. You know what I mean? Like you relate to that specific thing. You're like, wow, thanks, dude. That's what I've been. It's what I've been. It's been in my head or whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
that idea. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Putting it to reality. That's cool.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, that-
Impacts, bro.
Yeah. That builds your confidence and allows you to just go
Yep.
make other stuff that, whether it's good or not, like it allows you to just go for it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you don't have confidence getting into it, you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to go out and be proactive about it.
No. I mean, you were talking about the climbing stuff. What's his name? Just won all those awards for
Renan or Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jimmy Chin, dude.
Yeah.
That film was insane.
Dude. Great. With Alpinist or
Yeah. Both of them were amazing.
what was the other one?
14 Peaks.
14 Peaks.
Yeah.
14 Peaks was awesome.
That was.
Yeah.
oof.
I mean, that everyone was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I did not know. Like, once you dive into that life, like you said, the people that are like have the balls to go do that stuff and film that, like
Yeah.
nobody knows that lifestyle. And so when you film it in a beautiful way that they do, since he's an amazing photographer and just uses motion picture, then it opens a lot of people's eyes. Like, holy shit.
It's crazy. There's a guy named Brandon Lee who does these like travel videos.
Yeah.
But they're like super transition oriented and just like they're inception and like just they throw so much at you and he shoots so much content that like it's just
Overdose.
insane. Yeah, it's absurd, but like
Is it like a good way of
super good way.
showing
He,
a
like,
ton of content at once?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
know
shows
some
like he'll go
editors
to
like
like
that.
Beijing and like shoot Beijing for like a week, and it's all these like tiny little magic moments he finds all over in the streets, and like he's able to cut them all together, and like it's just yeah. he's-
That reminds me of you guys know Angus Emerson on Instagram by chance? He's cut a lot of like Netflix trailers and stuff like that. But the way he travels a lot and then the little minute clips that he puts together, that's what reminded me of that. He's able to put like hundreds of clips into like a really small format, but the way he mixes them together is super organic and it doesn't feel forced at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like choppy where you're like, what's going on?
I kind of wish I did more video when I traveled to like China and Taiwan and like all these other different places.
It's hard.
I took a lot
It's
of
hard
photos.
when you're working, though.
No, totally. But I would have days to where I would have time and I would just go shoot photos and I would just travel around and just switch lenses and do different stuff, going to, like just markets and shoot food. And like, I wish I kind of filmed those, I think, but I do love the photos. Yeah. I just wish I filmed it because you get a different reaction and different kind of feeling from it. But I don't know. I love traveling. Traveling and shooting photos is probably one of the most relaxing things to do. Yeah. Just walking around. You have nothing to do. You have nowhere to go, nowhere to be. You're in a completely different city, town, country, and just walk. Yeah. And you find, I walked in a freaking field. I don't even know where I was going. I just kept going. And then found crazy shit.
It's the essence of surprise and then getting to walk around and without any like constraints.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Priorities to hit. And it's just you and the camera and your environment.
I ended up to this monk like palace. It was awesome. So many cool things there. Yeah. Like just, I had no idea where I was going, but it was at the top of the hill and I was like, I'm going to go up there. Yeah. And you just find cool stuff.
It's just that different perspective. Like you just find yourself in places you're like, how am I here? Yeah. You know, like this is nuts.
Can I capture the essence of this space right now? Yeah. So I can bring it back home and show everybody what I was doing. I know it's hard to think to do. Anyway. Well, shit, dude. Well, you killed it.
What a solid
you had a lot of stuff in there.
Get together.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Good job on our first podcast, dude.
Thank you for everything. Where can the people find you?
Yeah.
Plug
the
socials.
We always end with what would you tell somebody? Or
ahead,
we always ask everyone that comes on the show.
What's coming?
Yeah, what would you like? What's something that you'd leave with somebody either getting into this industry or already in this industry?
Or just a piece of advice in general.
Just a piece of advice in general. Super generic.
It could be life too. It doesn't have to be filmmaking. It could be anything.
Yeah.
God, what like
a general piece of content.
Covered so many things.
I know, but like
that's
something
true.
that comes out to you that's like right off the top of your head. What have you learned in the past couple of years of your life that is just meaningful?
I got one.
Okay, go.
When you think something's a sure thing, it's not. I think everything, you think things are so permanent, but they really they can change, you know? Yep. No matter how like established you are as a person, as a filmmaker, in your position, in your family, whatever, like it can always change.
Life is fragile.
Yeah. And that's like, everyone kind of talks about that, but like, I don't know, that's something that, I've lived and I feel like it's really, it's eye-opening if you kind of live and you expect things to change as opposed to you live and you expect things to stay the same. It's just a different expectation. Goes back to setting expectations for yourself and where you're going to be.
Yeah.
No.
100%.
Thank you for that. Wow.
That's
awesome.
impactful, dude.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Thanks for being on.
Dude.
Thanks, guys.